Hey everybody. Oopsie. It shouldn't be on screen right yet. Oh, there we go. That's better. Hello. Happy Thursday. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Are you ready for me to talk mostly about games, but maybe just a tiny bit about the Ukraine as we continue to do Jen's Wit-Wat fundraiser. Oh my goodness, this has taken off in such a huge way. Jen is drowning in orders right now, which is freaking awesome. Okay, Wes Lloyd says that the sound and video is good. Phew, oh my gosh. I know I said in the R&R the other day that I was thinking I wouldn't stream this live because it creates so much stress for me. But then I'm like, oh, it's not that bad, is it? It's not like I have the extra complication of syncing up with Ruel and making sure all of that's working. This should be easy. Okay, fine, I'll do it again. And I just spent the last hour cursing up a storm, screaming. My throat's probably still a little raw because of everything that went wrong. Live streaming is so stressful. Oh my goodness. Yeah, and it's because of the countdown, right? Things go wrong with every single video I do. It's been true for 10 years. I don't think there's ever been a flawless video that hasn't given me some kind of problem or other. But hey, if there's no live component, that's fine. I'll do it this afternoon. I'm going to take a break. But here, give myself that 12 noon deadline. The clock is getting closer. Nothing is working. And to be fair, I'm experimenting this month. 10 days late, apologies for that, with this month's Roundup because I figured, okay, if I'm going to keep streaming, I got to make it easier to do. And so what I thought I'd do is stop using PowerPoint because that literally takes for freaking ever. It's so much meticulous work to set up a 20-some page PowerPoint presentation to walk everybody through and cue all the video and make sure I haven't messed it up and all that. And I thought, oh, you know what? Seems like when I'm doing top 10s with Ruel, it's a lot simpler. It's just quicker because, we're just going through web pages. And, in between, you'll notice how, I talk about number 7 or whatever, and then I go back to the full screen of the two of us, right? And then while it's the two of us talking a little bit more, I'm very quickly typing in the URL for the next entry, and then I switch back over, and I thought, that's easy. It's just happening dynamically on the fly. Maybe I should do that today. But the problem is I don't have anybody to come back to. There's nobody to talk to. So I was thinking, spoiler alert, the first game on the list is going to be Assault on Doomrock. I could keep jumping back and forth from the video back to here full screen so I could show the next box. I was thinking I could do that. And so I've set that up. And oh my God, what a nightmare that was. Using the OBS slideshow, I discovered a new thing today. There is a maximum file size limit because it preloads all the images in a slideshow. And, when I just download them off YouTube or Board Game Geek, I don't care if they're 2 or 3 megs. Streamlabs does. And so that blew up in my face. And it took me forever to figure that out. So I've got them all queued up now. But I'm not even sure if I'm going to use them. Because ultimately, while I was in the process of that, I thought, what if I just create a YouTube playlist of all the games I'm going to talk through? That's really easy. And so I did that really quick. And I can just like tick, here's number 18, 17, 16. But there's this weird glitchy thing. Let me show you. Again, spoiler alerts for a couple of the first ones. But hey, you're here early because you want the behind the scenes, right? Oh, by the way, I'm sorry. What are we going on here? What's happening, everyone? Let's see. Fem Sensei volunteers to co-host. Oh my, that's quite the offer. Thank you very much. That is a big ask. But the thing is, that gets me back to where I am originally, trying to make sure that getting audio pumped in on a separate channel, because one of the most funky things about everything I do here, which as far as I know, nobody else is doing, no other live streamer does this, is that I am recording a video that will go on YouTube tomorrow, and I'm streaming a completely different video to you folks right now. The YouTube video that goes up tomorrow doesn't have stream avatars down at the bottom, doesn't have events that pop up. Oh, by the way, looking at events, thank you, Wes Lloyd, for continuing to resubscribe. Oh crap, I did not update. I'm just not going to update those. These are a few off. It's weird. One of the things I have to do before I start streaming every day is I have to update these, because if Streamlabs is shut down, they don't update. So, I probably have, I've got 1,711 followers. Oh, but it says 710 there. Close enough. We're actually one follower closer to unlocking a bonus top 10. Anyway, I'm not going to bother fixing that right now. It's fine. It's fine. That's the other thing, too. I'm too much of a perfectionist, which is weird. I don't think of myself as a perfectionist at all. I think of myself as always just cutting corners. But, when I sit down and start doing this, like, oh, no, I do actually care. I do try to get things done as smartly as possible. What was I saying? I don't even remember what I was saying. Oh, but because I'm recording two shows at the same time, and one of them has a lot of audio for events and stuff like that the other one doesn't have, that means I have to do this insanely complex interwoven web of virtual audio cables, because Ruel is coming in on one so that he can be heard on both. But, events like a new subscriber, that's only going into one of them. So, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Hey, when I fly solo, it should be easier. So I thought, okay, fine, I'll stream again. It was not easy this morning. Although, to be fair, that's because I was trying new stuff. Oh, yeah, I was going to show you, just as a sneak peek. I come over here to the browser. Why isn't it even here? Well, that's surprising. Why did that happen? Oh my gosh, putting feature chat in front blocks that out? Come on, why would you do that? Why would you do that? All right, let's just go on ahead. Let's just go on ahead and close that. Fine, I will just keep Chrome running. I can't be bothered. No, even, what? How does anything in front of it makes it black out? Well, I'm learning more interesting stuff that I did not expect to go terribly, horribly wrong. But of course, because I'm capturing Calibri, because Calibri is a lower impact browser. It doesn't take up so many system resources, so it hopefully doesn't take things offline so much. But apparently when it goes into the background, because I put anything else in front of it, it goes black. I don't know why it would do that. Because it's not like I don't know. Whatever. I'm not going to worry about that for a second. But anyway, you'll notice when I go from Shay's number 3 to his number 2, there's all this flashing of stuff. Because, and I tried this on several different browsers this morning. This is just something YouTube does. It does all these stupid flashes whenever you go from one video to another. And I never noticed before because, of course, when I'm doing this with Ruel, in between, I come back to the talking head. And it's me and Ruel talking a little bit more, and the transition happens off screen. So I'm trying to decide if I am bothered enough about those stupid flashing thumbnails. I know the audience won't care. So why should I care? Why should I care? Let's see what you folks think. Alrighty. Fem is, all right. Because it's covering up that, how do I need to do this? Okay, I closed it. I need to get featured chat back, open in a new window. And then it's not going to open, of course, because sometimes it doesn't work. Why? No, there it is. Okay, log in. And so, yeah, that messes up. But, that's okay, though, because once I actually start recording the show, I'm going to get rid of featured chat anyway, because I don't need to be talking to everybody, obviously, because, once I get going, I'm just doing the show, and whoever's here can just watch in the background. So, let's see if I mess that up. All right, so I come back to Stream Avatar. 2 ginormous screens in front of me, just full of stuff, trying to keep track of all of this business. If I go back to the browser, okay, so yeah, that's fine. All right, so yeah, that's all cool. So the question is, one problem I have is I could, when I'm doing my own, I'm counting my own stuff, I could keep going back and forth and cover up that little glitchy thumbnail flash. But I can't do it with Shay because he's not here. He just sent me a video where he just talks for whatever, 5 or 6 minutes. And I don't have an easy way to pause him and go back and all of that. So it seems like the flash is going to happen on him. And I didn't realize this flash was happening until like 90 seconds before I had to push the go live button. I thought, oh, this is going to be perfect. And I saw the flash. I'm like, oh, one more thing. All right, well, let's see what you folks think if the flash bothered you. All righty. Oh, you're talking amongst yourselves. All right. If you share a Windows screen, you'll have everything on the screen. All right. Okay, I'm going to scroll back up because there's obviously some stuff that's been talked about. Oh, people were noticing. Oh, why are you talking about Zapatec? Why is everybody talking about Zapatec? Did I throw Zapatec on the screen for some reason? I don't think so. But anyway, sound and video is good. Love-hate relationship with my YouTube. Oh, hold on a second. I need to come over here so I can flash these things. Oh, but once again, featured chat is really great, except for 50% of the time when you start it, it just spins and does nothing and it gets stuck. All right, okay, it's working now. So, I have a love-hate relationship, says Les Culse. But you love Zapatec. Oh, that's why you're talking about Zapatec. Yeah, Zapatec is fantastic. Do not fall under my siren song, folks. I am a very enthusiastic person. I'm a very good salesman. I always say, do not use my final thoughts. Just because I enjoy a game doesn't mean you will. Hopefully the run-through, where I'm still excited and enthusiastic, but hopefully that really captures the spirit of the game so that you could feel like you know whether it's fun for you. Somebody was just complaining this morning that they felt they don't trust me anymore because I misled them on Futuropia from Freedom and Freeze. And I went back and I looked at my final thoughts, and oh my gosh, I bent over backwards in that final thoughts, trying to articulate all the particular little weird things about that game and why I like it, but other people might not like it. And this particular person, I don't know if they just didn't watch all the way through. They just saw, oh, I said at the beginning I really enjoyed it and I thought it was very, very cool, and they missed all the stuff at the end. I don't know. Oh, it's frustrating. There's nothing I hate more than when I've misled somebody. But I went back and looked. I don't feel like I was misleading on that game at all, especially because I demonstrated. Anyway, it hardly matters. Oh, thank you, fam. You're here. I like all of you too. Okay. All right. Right. Wes Lloyd, hopefully nobody else lost video and you just need to refresh. Fingers crossed. Okay, it was just you said. All right. Let's see. No, am I going to create a game? No, I am definitely a retired former video game designer, and I am not going to become a board game designer. The closest that's ever going to happen to is eventually, provided Plunderous, a game that's being designed by a friend of mine, successfully funds and gets published, and then he decides he's going to keep going and release his next design, Adventure Inc. You could consider both Plunderous and Adventure Inc. games that I have a lot of DNA in. As he's a friend of mine, so I've spent a lot of time with him going over stuff, giving him suggestions, tweaking, improving, all that kind of stuff. So Plunderous and Adventure Inc. maybe, but that's as close as I'll ever get. Because working with him has just once again made me aware of just how much I don't want to do the job, because it's hard. Alrighty. Oh, yeah. What's with this rewind feature? Just turn it on, Twitch. Yeah, I mean, I had it for one day, and I thought, oh, it's just going to be here forever. And then the next day it was gone. I mean, presumably they'll roll it out for everybody eventually. Alrighty. Let's see here. Share a window screen. You'll share everything on the screen, but if you do an application, the appearance appears black. Really? Well, but that's the problem. If I'm just sharing the screen, what I'd be capturing is underneath the thing I'm trying to look at anyway. My assumption was that I could have, and I'm almost positive I have had, let me go back to this. Hold on a second. Let me come back to this. I want to test this some more. All right, so come back to this browser. There's the first entry. And if I just put a little text file, on the screen. Yeah, this text file is now on the screen, and I maximize it. It is not interfering with Streamlabs' ability to capture. Oh, it just did. What was that? It took a while. Oh, look at that. It's only if I maximize something. Yes. Yes, okay. Then I can have feature chat come back. I just can't have it maximized? Is that it? If I make it a bit smaller, bippity, flippity dippity. Folks, you showed up early to watch me figure out how to live stream. There we go. Okay, good. That's one less thing to worry about. That's nice. Oh, okay. I don't remember if that's what if Fem, that's what you're suggesting, but whatever you suggested, that solved one problem. I learned something new every day. Okay, what else have we got? Critical rules of presentation: never do a live demonstration. I cannot disagree with that. I don't know. I'm really on the fence about doing it. Like I said in the R&R show the other day, I was so disappointed when I got turned down the second time. And it was just, insult to injury. First, they accept me because it was a mistake, a typo. And then 30 seconds later, they deny me. And I'm like, I have hit all your metrics. I'm like the third biggest YouTube reviewer in the world for board games. What more do you want from me? We want you to cover video games and or be in a hot tub. That's what Twitch wants from you if you want to be partner. I'm like, I don't want to do that. Or role-playing games. I'm not going to do that. But I don't know. Maybe somewhere, I remember somebody suggested, hey, I could start covering video games on your channel. I just don't want to, what do you call it? Mixed messages. I want to be about one thing. But anyway, yes, live demonstrations are hard. Gameplay is ultra speed, always messing around. Oh, you're talking about Zapatech now. There, I think I'm almost caught up. I blame me too. Alrighty, ignore the final thoughts. Oh, good job, Wes Lloyd. Now, actually, every time I say, folks, just ignore my final thoughts, I do feel kind of bad about that. What I really mean is ignore my personal subjective opinion. Sometimes in the final thoughts, there are things that I didn't actually cover in the run through, and I'm like, oh crap, now my final thoughts are my opportunity to bring this up and mention it. So if you completely ignore it, you are missing, but generally not anything particularly important. So don't worry too terribly much. I'm glad you are using the channel as intended, and because, man, the final thoughts are relatively easy. The run through is what's hard. And if all I did was final thoughts, my life would be so much easier. And sometimes I wonder why I don't just do that. Why, when I picked up my camera, did I decide to do my own thing rather than just copy Tom Vassell? It was early on enough that if I had done that, I probably would have been able to compete directly with Tom Vassell for board game. You know what? I never would have been able to, though, because, so many people turned away from me because I had long videos. These days, that's much more accepting. So, I never really caught up with Tom in that regard. But my other thing, too, is I would never catch up with Tom because I'll never cover 3-player minimum games. I'll never cover attacky games. There are so many huge, monster, successful games I'll never cover. So I was always behind the 8 ball. But if I had used his format when I started out, I think I'd be a lot further along, definitely, before I would decide to crash it all down by saying the Black Lives Matter. Oops. Oh, sorry. Said that. Today it's all about Ukraine. All right. What else are people saying? All righty. This is what I should do. I shouldn't get on with the intent of filming a show. I should just get on and say hi to everybody and answer questions. Fem, I am a salesman by nature. It is true. It's weird too because I don't know it's by nature. It's nurture. It's a skill I learned. If you watched a recent trivia thing on the R&R, I was trained. I was trained, one, to be a Kirby door-to-door vacuum cleaner salesman. I was trained as an actor to project to the back of the room and always pay attention to the needs of the audience because I did a lot of live theater in high school. And then I was trained when I was in college. One of my first college jobs was doing customer surveys over the phone where everybody just wants to hang up on you immediately. So I had to be able to very quickly and effectively communicate, and I had to bring enthusiasm to keep people on the line for that. And then I spent 3 years doing Nintendo gameplay counseling, so that was even more communication stuff, where I had to learn how to effectively teach people how to beat bosses and make it through mazes without seeing what they were doing. So throughout my late teens into my mid-20s, everything I was doing was training me for this day today. It was very weird that I took myself to school for all that inadvertently. I love you. Keep trying to hug everybody, Fem, and my bot just keeps saying, you need a valid target, because you're just blanket, and not everybody's valid. Not everybody deserves a hug. But keep on trying, Fem. I don't know why you haven't gotten the hearts floating over your head. I know I saw somebody had that once, and you've hugged so many people now. I would think you would have taken it away from them, so you'd have the hearts flying out of your head. But I know you're not doing it for the hearts. You're doing it for the love. So that is awesome. Yes, I mean, yeah. Once Tom took the fedora high ground, Dwaltz, I knew there was no catching up. I had to see that. I guess I could have branched into cowboy hats. Maybe that would have been something, but nope. Yeah. Yes, that's a very good point. Even a failed hug conveys the hug. Although, I love how I mean, and at least people notice it because they all see my big, this requires a valid target. Like, I'm coming down like Robocop, trying to smash illicit hugs or something like that. Dead or alive, you're hugging with me. All right. Okay, so here's what we're doing today, folks. We are gonna do my monthly roundup. I had meant to actually film it the day before Jen and I went, but a bunch of stuff went crazy, so I just had to cancel it at the last minute, which is why I'm now doing this 10 days late. And we're gonna start talking a bit more about Jen's fundraising thing she's doing for Ukraine with these adorable little Ukraine flag-inspired meeples. We talked about it on the R&R. I just put up a video today. Oh, thank you very much, Sam, for the resub. Woohoo, 41, only 8 more subs to go. I think Three Sisters is going to happen this month. I think it is. Got a good feeling about this. But, right, so I'm just going to mention this fundraising thing that Jen is doing one more time in the opener of the Roundup, because, the Roundup is the biggest thing I do regularly. I mentioned it in the Ark Nova. That's probably going to be one of my biggest videos of the year, quite frankly, ultimately. So a lot of people will see it there. People saw it the other day in the R&R. People will see it in this Roundup. And then, I'll probably keep wearing the Ukraine shirt. This was going to be the month where I spent all my time wearing Our Family Plays Games shirts. But they would understand. I don't know. I'll have to figure that out later. But, anyway, when the show starts, Jen's going to come on camera for a little bit. Because, just in the one day we've done it so far, I don't know how many orders she's gotten. She is going to be making these things for the rest of the month. And, I think she's raised already almost $1,000 from people just from the one show. And the R&R is not our most popular show. So, at one level, she's nervous, but she doesn't care because she's so excited because every one of these she makes, and she always makes all her stuff by hand with love, now it just makes her feel good that she is making a concrete difference in the world, that, she's getting one step closer to saving a human life. And it's causing her to rethink her entire business, quite frankly, because it's been so successful. And of course, it's in part so successful because, obviously, Ukraine is on everybody's mind right now with good reason. So I don't know, we'll see what happens moving forward. But anyway, so Jen, I told her to come down around 10:30 because I'd probably start doing the live stream around 10:30 or so. So she'll come online and just to say thank you to everybody and all of that. But you know what? Before we get to that, I got a big mess on this table. I recorded Ark Nova yesterday, and because of Jen's thing, I wanted to post it really quick. Normally, I film something, and it's about a week before I make them public, so that Patreon backers who get to see stuff early, ad-free, get to see it for a while. But anyway, so that's why it's still on the table because I didn't clean up yesterday. Because originally I wasn't thinking I was actually going to stream, but then I woke up this morning and thought, okay, yeah, I can do it. Anyway, so, hey, on some of these before, I've done an unboxing. How about we do a boxing, right? Oh, that's the wrong one. Where's my overhead? Not the R&R overhead, but the regular overhead. There we go. Let's box. Put on your red shoes and blah, blah. Let's box. Alrighty. Sorry, don't know where the Bowie came from. Alrighty, so there's those things. Here's some money left over from the playthrough. Oh, and I just put them all in the wrong spot. Normally, I'm not one for dividing things like this. Not my thing. I just like having big, gigantic piles of stuff. But I figured, what the heck? I needed to do it to show it in the video, right? Okay, there's another one of these. There's another North American Association. There's another university. They all go in there. Right, those don't go in there. Right, so, hey, it's a box. Da-da-da-da. Piot, 9. Thank you for subscribing. What happened to 1s through 8, I wonder? A mystery for the ages. Okay, so how do I box things? Try to put stuff together. Hey, here's the rest of the general purpose objective cards and the general purpose action cards. I'm just going to throw them all together. I'm not sorting them. When I put stuff away, I tend to do very little sorting, but I'll go on ahead and throw in the solo board as well. Right. Now, probably the main thing I do for storing stuff is I do tend to break player stuff down into individual bags. So here's the yellow player. All of their stuff came with these little tiny bags. And the main reason I do it is because it's easy. Because they're already sorted out, right? So I just want to keep them sorted. You got to keep them separated. Boy, I'm getting all kinds of musical today, aren't I? Anyway, here's all the, these are all one-time bonuses plus the turn order marker. Right, so the blue player was a dummy player in my run-through. So I got to grab all the blue stuff. They get their own sack jack. I don't know, did anybody else see the Eric Martin Firestorm controversy about how he just literally, when he puts a game away, he holds the box under the edge of the table and literally just shoves everything off the edge of the table, just in one big massive pile. And then when he sets up, he just dumps that pile unceremoniously in the middle of the table and starts playing, because you can sort it out while you're playing. Why spend all that extra time? You might get hit by a bus. You don't want to have the majority of your life spent sorting things. Who cares? And it was interesting. A lot of people asked me at the time, what did I think? And I missed it completely. So I'll say what I think about it now. I largely agree with Eric. I am not much for sorting. Honestly, I guess I'm kind of a messy muss. I like big piles of components. There's something about it that is pleasing to me. Although that's interesting. Of the two of us, Jen, in our home life, she's the sloppy one. If you were to ever visit us without advance warning, you would just find piles of stuff all over the place. Whereas all of my stuff is very neatly put away. Everything is very organized. But not when I put games out. I like maybe games give me a break from my natural urge to organize stuff. Although even still, they're organized piles. But yeah, these kinds of things, I don't want or need these. They provide me no comfort, no succor. Did I pronounce that right? I'm not sure. Anyway, oops, that was on the floor. So, I guess I should probably see what's happening. If everybody's just running away. All right. It's a Buddy Belly. It's a travesty what Eric does. Now, here's the thing. I don't think so. I'm probably closer to Eric because that's not being reflected here. But if it hadn't come with these, all of the size 1, 2, 3, 3s and 4s, these would all just be in one bag for me. And the 5s, I would just put all those in one bag. I'd probably even put the special ones, the aviaries and the fist. All of this stuff would just be in one big bag that I would just dump unceremoniously. Because, hey, it's not very hard for me during play to, I need a 3. Okay, there it is. Rather than, consciously, keep them all separated like this. Maybe, I'd probably even throw these in one big super pile as well, I bet. But I've got this, so I'm sorting them. But, all right. But it's upkeep. Life's too short to worry about it, is kind of the way I look at it. But what I wouldn't do, and I think what Eric would do, is he'd have all of these in the same pile where he would dump all his money. And now that's silly. That is silly talk. I would have all my money, the 20s, the 10s, the 5s, and the 1s in one pile, all the terrain in another pile. And I do break individual player colors because, hey, they're already separated from play. Let's just keep them separated. I don't have to bump them all back together. Whereas it seems like Eric revels. And I there's kind of a fun sense of, I'm being naughty. I'm just throwing it all into the board. But the thing I don't think he took into account, because his response, and Eric's a really thoughtful guy, but his response really surprised me, that at no point did he just recognize that for some people, it's fundamentally uncomfortable. Just because of, honestly, probably because of their brain chemistry, because they just need to have things in, arrayed, and it just makes them uncomfortable. The same way I have, what's it called? I have a trick to something or other. It makes me very uncomfortable looking at tiny little circles, like looking too close at a sunflower seed or something like that. And, it's not like it's debilitating or anything. It just makes me uncomfortable. In this weird thing that's kind of, it's just like, I don't like looking at that. So I don't like looking. A few years ago, American Horror Story had a whole series of ads that were playing up on that phobia. Again, I'm not afraid, but, and I think for some people, the same thing is true for clutter. And it just gets under their skin. So I totally get why there was such a polarizing response to his video. And I was surprised he didn't acknowledge that, hey, for some people, you just need to have that order in your life. Anyway, though, hey, I boxed a game, folks. Oh, I didn't put my little whatsies. These were very important in Malta because our games would go moldy if I didn't put them in. Don't really need to do them here, but I put it back in anyway. And hey, guess, just off camera, it's the lady of the hour. I have not started streaming yet. I'm streaming right now,
Yeah.
but I haven't actually started the show. So I'm just in the pre-show right now, chitty-chatting with people, or mostly chitty-chatting at people, and every once in a while remembering that, I should look to see what they say in response. But you can come on screen, honey pie. So you've got some more you've made?
Yeah.
All right. Let's take a look. Look at all these goodies. Let's see. Oh, Kate Invader, thank you for the resub. 7 more to go. Woohoo! Okay. So yeah, Jen's made a whole bunch more of these. And again, everyone unique. Everyone. Oh, let's see. I need to make this bigger. I can't see what I'm doing on that little tiny screen.
He's wiggling.
Oh, there. Yeah. I mean, this is interesting, folks. What do you think about this heart? Jen's got this heart stamp she could be doing on them, and she's done. Let's see, which one's the other one?
This one, I think.
This one.
No, there was 2 of them with a heart. There it is.
That's the one I was just showing him. Oh, okay. Yeah, so she's got this stamp that she can put hearts. Move it down a little bit because the closer you get to the camera, the less focused it is. Or, down towards the green screen a little bit.
Those are my fingers. I can't.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, I mean, you could lay them on the ground and then just kind of hold them into place.
All right.
There you go. That kind of thing.
Obviously, I am not a professional person on the green screen.
Yep. So she's got this heart stamp, which is obviously nice, and it's part of the message, we heart Ukraine and all that. My first thought when I saw them was, when she did them on these 2, is, to me, what? You
didn't like them very much.
I like them in theory, but I don't know. What do you folks think? I don't want to put thoughts in your in your head. Ripplebrook says, "Oh, those are so cute." Right. Oh, and Majagoa 82 says, "Share the link." The link. All right, here. Let me just type that link in really quick. Boop. Oh, and the yellow, it looks like it's too close to the green. Yellow and green, of course, similar. The link for those you can find at http://ukraine.rahdo.com. Oh dear, I'm hitting question marks and periods. Oopsie. Spoilers for the thing that's coming. All right. So, for folks who don't know, Jen is making a specialized line of her Witwat in blue and yellow, the Ukrainian colors, the Ukrainian flag colors, and 100% of the money she would make off this.
Yeah.
Basically, you're taking out shipping and the cost of the glass, I guess, basically, right?
Well, what Etsy charges me.
Not the shipping, the fees, because Etsy charges some fees. So you're taking those out, pretty much anything you would make, including the cost of goods. So you're basically donating your glass.
Yeah, donating my glass and my time.
Yeah, and your time. 100% of it is going to care.org, which is a humanitarian relief effort very active in Ukraine right now, saving people's lives as we speak. And so, it's a size, Jen's doing a lot of work for this, and, she's getting nothing for it other than warm feelies and, a sense of satisfaction knowing that she is literally making more. So this is interesting. Jen has...
I can't see any of those because of all the people at the bottom.
Oh, yeah. Well, so we got this little heart,
yep.
And then you got that bigger heart, which is like, a multi-heart kind of thing, which I kind of like because, it looks like a little mouth or something like that. Yep. Tuxedo asks, what do we call them? These are... any individual one of these is a WIT, which is an acronym. What in the world is that? Multiples are a WIT-WAT. What in the world are those?
Yep. And if you have a group, you could say it's a waggle.
It's a waggle of WIT-WAT.
Yep.
And each individual WIT in this waggle forms the WIT-WAT.
Waggle.
Did I mix it up in there?
Yeah, because it's more than one, it's a WIT-WAT.
I promise Jen is right off camera. She just refuses to take the extra 2 steps to actually come on camera.
Hello.
Plus, they can't hear you because the camera's the mic's pointing towards me. There you go. Yeah, it's right there. There we go.
Okay, I'm here.
Okay. And then she's gone. Like a thief in the night. Poof. Did you ever even see her? Was she a ninja? Let's see. We see Wesseloid loves the big hearts. So I'm kind of curious if anybody, or Julia Deer liked the hearts. I think that was from earlier.
The little hearts.
Looks like tentacles holding heart, says Tuxedo. This was before when I was showing the first ones, I think. Apparently, they can hear you. I'm sure she's pretty quiet. You know what I can do? Let's see. I have to remember to undo this. If I push this button, now the mic is doing full 360 degrees, so you'll probably be able to hear her a little bit better, me a little bit worse, because it's not doing directional right towards my mouth anymore. That's a good idea. Hey, let's do a poll.
Oh, a poll. I like a poll.
Let's see. Jen loves a poll. How can I get to the poll now? Oh, you know what? The polls are only available in my interface. Oh, no, they're over here. I can get to the poll. Bring on the poll. Got to have that poll now. Alrighty. So, new poll. Big or little hearts? Big, little.
Or none.
Or none.
Yeah.
No hearts. Or none. None. Nuns.
Nuns.
Hearts.
Not like the ones
Hearts
where
on
suits.
Wit Wat. All right, so this is going to be a 2-minuter, folks. Start the poll. And they're voting, although you probably need to see them. So here is one. Let's go back to the green screen. Here's one with a big heart. And the big heart really kind of restricts Jen, I think, right?
Well, I have to push it into the glass.
Yeah.
So basically, it's the whole front of the...
Yeah. Whereas the little ones, you can squeeze in a little bit more easily.
Let's put him up give him a little pillow.
All right. I guess that'll do. Move him a bit to the right because he's covered by the pole. And then, of course, there's none. Let's see.
They don't have a flat bottom, so they're...
Yeah, I mean, although Jen's doing other stuff. Like this one has just like a little subtle swirl for kind of a mouth kind of a thing. All right, so the voting is going. So far, nobody has said none. Nobody prefers a heartless Wit-Wit.
Where's the other one with the heart?
I put them...
There's 2 little hearts and 1 big heart.
Okay. Well, no, this is a circle, right?
Yep, this one's got a sucker.
Oh, here we go. Okay. There we go.
Yep.
So that's the other one with the little heart. I'll tell you what I responded to them. To me, it kind of felt like they're literally being branded, like they're cattle. And you know how they put the ranch on the haunches of the cattle? They kind of had that feel to me, whereas the big ones didn't have that feel. Bring that one down a little bit, Honey Pie, because it's covered. Yeah, you can see it's covered. There we go. Yeah, so we're about halfway through the voting. And, right, and it's pretty much neck and neck. Oh. I think it looks like somebody has said no hearts. Let's see if I can slow this down here. Yep, one person out of 80 or so has said no hearts, please. I prefer heart-free. But big and little just keep fighting back and forth for supremacy. It's 50-50.
I also have a medium heart, so...
Oh, I didn't see that.
Well, I haven't made anything with the medium one yet.
Okay.
But...
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. I mean, here's one, sans anything, which means Jen does more with the glass. Potentially.
Yeah, show some weird, funky ones.
Like here's Swirly McGee over here, and I don't know. This one kind of feels like a confectionery of some sort, some kind of lovely candy. And then this one has got a couple of horns and a double eyeball sort of thing. I kind of
think he's going woo.
Woohoo! Oh, he's your woohoo guy.
100% screen.
All right. Well, in the end, honey, after 2 minutes of voting, Big won it 49-45.
Oh, okay. Or 52%.
Or 52%.
Okay, so it sounds like people do want heart on almost all of their Whitwell.
Yeah, only one person said, but you've already done like 24 with no hearts, right?
Not quite that many. I think I've made 20 so far, but I've just made more upstairs.
Yeah, the hearts are, of course, they fit what the whole thing is about, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's see if anybody actually had anything other than just voting. I like the hearts, but I like it without, says Ripple. Let's see, let me scroll back up. You can hear Jen. Poll said, Kruth, very good call. Like both times, says Madge. Love them all, says Kate. Yeah, someone might think that the small one is a stamp on all of Jen's work. The big one doesn't feel that way, says Denuga. Gil Goots says, it was really nice meeting you at Dice Tower West. Your designs... Oh, I should be doing that over here. Where is that? Your designs are so pretty and creative. Gil's daughter loves the jade meeple pin that they brought home.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. Ripple could take her, likes him with or without. Wessel Lloyd loves the woohoo guy. Right. Zeta says, Little Heart with Swirl looks more like they are holding a heart shape. Let's see. And then Fem tries to hug somebody. And then Wessel Lloyd would like to specifically request a woohoo guy. And see, that's always the danger. Yeah. Every one of them, it's not like Jen set out to make a woohoo guy. It's just kind of how it formed and evolved, right?
Right. I'm just working with the glass and letting the glass melt in a way that then suggests something to me. And so that's how they're all unique.
Right. Madge asked the question of the hour. If we order, must we add somewhere that we want a big, little, or no heart?
Well, we thought about that.
Yep.
Basically, I am chugging along with these because I'm so grateful that there's been a really supportive response.
Yeah, a big response so far. And it's going to get bigger after the Roundup that we're about to film goes up, where we talk about them again.
So essentially, because I'm donating my time, I don't want to have a bunch of administration.
Of keeping track.
Of who wants what.
You might ultimately have several hundred.
I might.
Yeah, at the rate we're going.
I'm just not going to be able to probably do that. Actually, I was just... asking around to all my glass friends in the area if they have any more blue glass, because the
Oh my gosh, are
response
you going to
so
run out of
far
blue glass?
has exceeded my expectations. So,
which is a good problem to have.
yeah, I mean, I've got enamels and I've got other things, so they might not be solid blue with yellow after I run out of blue glass. And I've checked 6 suppliers and they're all out. So I'm
Oh my gosh.
There's probably quite a few artists who are doing something.
Oh, you think
similar.
so?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Or also because of the floods in Venice last year, Efetra had to shut down completely. Their furnaces shut down because they were underwater.
Oh, wow. And
so there's a shortage.
So that is one of the sources of your
of this
designer
particular
glass.
Because I'm working in 104 at the moment. Yeah, I have Bullseye, so I can always go to that, I suppose, too. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but for the end user, it's the same end result. It's just a different consistency for you to work with, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It's just I had 104 on my table when I started this, so.
Well, so to answer your question, Madge, it's complicated.
I'd love to be able to personalize, but I think with the way that this is going.
Yeah.
And Etsy penalizes me if I don't ship things out on time.
Yeah, exactly. Because you have to be a
star seller.
Yeah, a star seller, or else you lose your star status if you're not just instantly getting them out. Oh, by the way, one thing though, which I'll talk about when we start recording the show, when you actually
order anything on the Etsy site?
There is a comment field you can add, and you want to put in the word Everdell to get these Everdell cards. These Rahdo runs through Everdell cards specifically.
In the checkout notes.
In the checkout notes,
card,
exactly.
There's a little spot to say, write a note to the shop owner or something like that.
Yep. Okay. Whew. So, Madge says, that makes sense. They all look magnificent either way. Amazing effort. And a very good cause, Jen. Smiley face. Okay. So, yeah. Jen is here. I am ready to start filming the show, counting down the games we played last month. And because Jen, now are you going to get on camera, or are you just going to be a voice from off screen?
I don't know.
You kind of have to get on camera, honey pie, if you want.
Just,
you don't have to.
I'm just in my workshop clothes and stuff, but I guess that's okay.
That's fine. I'm in my work clothes.
Yeah, yours aren't quite as catty.
I mean, here, come over
you
here.
Still have burn marks.
Here, you can move that box. But so I'll be here and you can come in. Oh wow, you're like way off screen. You really should come in over on the other side, because there's all this space.
Okay.
There's all this space over here. Oh Lord, Jen. Yeah, all these years later, Jen's been in literally, I think, over 100 videos now, but she still just does not want to be seen nor heard. Oh, you could just like pop up like a Muppet character. You could just be under.
That'd be cute.
That would be fun. Do you want to do that?
I feel like I do feel tiny. Look at me. I look like I'm a hobbit.
Yeah, you do. Like this.
You get on your knees too.
There we go.
There we go. That's
Hi.
better.
Hello. Hello. Oh my goodness. Yeah, this is what you thought you were going to get when you logged in today, was it, folks? I don't think so.
Jen the Hobbit.
Okay. So, do you just want to walk in, or do you want to just like have half a face stuck in on the other side, or what do you want to do? Or, you don't have to appear on at all.
Let's get this done, because I've got things.
I know, exactly. So, but that's what I'm saying. What do you want to do?
I'll just sit here, and you can get me in quickly, because I got stuff to do today.
Okay. Do you know what you want to say? Because basically, this is happening because I said, hey, I'm going to do one more today. And Jen said, oh, when you do it, could you say this and this and this and this? And I said, honey, it'll mean a lot more coming from you if you want to say that and that and that and that. But are you ready to say this, that, or the other thing?
I don't know. We'll try.
Okay. Well, when you do leave, pull the chair out with you, please.
Okay.
All right. So, this is streaming live, so... Do you want to warm up, or are you okay?
No, just...
All right. Okay, then hold on a second. Let me just make sure I've got all of my stuff set up so that after you're done, I can just continue with the show. I just saw a screen flash. Why did I see that? I don't know. Oh, that makes me so unhappy. Why did that happen? Well, it's not going to do about now.
Screen flash? What is that?
It's a technical glitch I've been fighting for months.
Cool.
And I thought it was gone, and I just saw one. It's like a little... what do you call it? It's a line of corruption that just appears for a frame and disappears.
Oh.
And I thought, I don't know what it is. Who
cares? It's come and gone, right?
Well, no, but it could be a prelude to more. We'll see. Okay, and but Victory says life is indeed good, honey pie.
Indeed,
Yes.
life is good.
Yep, Jen has like a whole set. You went for quite a while. You have like a half dozen of those shirts.
Yeah, I pretty much just wear life is good shirts.
Pretty much, yeah. That's her entire repertoire. Okay. So.
I'll put some lipstick on.
All right. What do I need? I need, hey, everybody. Okay, I need to go back to the normal view so I can see all my stuff. So you're in this little window down here. Thank you, Julia. Subscribe with Prime. Yay. So close. Yay. Okay. So I'm going to need to... Hey everybody, today Rahdo runs through the games of February 2022. And before we get to that, I've got a special guest appearance by my wife Jen, who is here to make an announcement in case you haven't heard. Or do you want me to do the majority of it and you just want to talk a little bit at the end about it? Okay. All right. We're making a bit of an announcement. My wife is a glass artist. You can check out her work here, blah, blah, blah. And so then, honey, I know you wanted to say something because you wanted to talk about how you're not a soldier and all that kind of stuff, right? Yeah. Okay. And thank you, Honey Pie. And she's got to get back to work now, folks, because the orders are coming in like crazy.
I mean, like there was like 20.
20 orders have come in this morning. Yeah. So Jen's got to get to work, but it's the best work of her life. It is. And so thanks, Honey Pie. And then you will leave. You will drag the chair out with you.
Yep.
And
I will point at the microphone to remind you to put it back into directional mode.
Oh, you know what, folks? Can you hear her okay right now? I'd rather not mess with the mic while I'm filming. Oh, but I guess it does matter. All right. All right. If I just rotate this a little bit. No. All right. I'll do that. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. It'll just be what it is. Okay. Talk a little bit, Honey Pie?
A little bit.
All right. I would say just project a tiny bit more.
Okay, I'll try.
Because you're far away and I can't really move it right now.
I'll try.
Okay, cool. All right, and then you will leave. You'll take the chair with you. I will put it back into not 360 mode. Say, okay, folks, now let's talk about games. We in the month of February, we played blah, blah, blah. And it's really good. Sorry we're a bit late. But without any further ado, let's get to Shay. And then just make sure Shay is fine. Browser with Shay.
Folks, so I covered 3 games this month, and I really liked all of them, but of course we must rank these things. So my number 3 game was Assault on Doomrock Ultimate Edition.
Boop.
This is a paid
Spoilers,
preview,
everybody.
And this is a remake of a previous game. I haven't played the original.
Yeah. I think that's fine, and then I just go. Go. Okay, we're ready. Are you ready?
Yes.
Thank you. Are you, audience, ready?
Oh, I was going to wear that blue shirt with the yellow flower.
Yes, you were. You have a blue shirt. Do you want to do that?
Yeah, because it's Ukraine.
Life is no longer good. Jen is going to pull a last-second costume change. Let's see what everybody's up to. Let's see. Could hear her better at the other side. Yeah, because she was physical. Okay. All right, let's just... All right, I don't need this overhead anymore. Let's just move that out of the way. Let's just move this over to her. All right, so that means now I am... lower quality sound, but it's closer to her. She has a lower voice than me. So that'll take care of that. And then after she's done, when she's moving the car, I'll just bring the mic back to me and I'll hit the button. Yep, that did that. So that'll be fine. Okay. All right.
Yes, life is still good.
Life is still good in a slightly more sedate, but blue and yellow way. Okay, cool. So let's see if anybody else said anything. Can still find love seeing the prep going on. Yep, this is all the behind the scenes. So if you were going to a live studio taping of some show in Hollywood, this is basically what you show up for because, watching the sausage getting made. Okay, Denoga says we're both pretty good volume-wise now.
Okay.
All right. You were a bit soft. Now that is true because this webcam has a pretty low depth of field. So I'm pretty much in focus, but it is the nature of it. I'm sure Jen doesn't mind being slightly softer anyway.
I don't mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, put the whole blur thing
the blur
on
filter
me.
on. Just put the
Gaussian blur, please. Select pixels, expand by 100.
Honey Pie, Wesleloid says, not sure how Etsy works, but it says only one available at the moment.
Oh, that's because, like I said, I put 20 more on this morning and they've all gone.
Can't
except
you
for
just
one.
put 100 or something?
I can. Yeah, I guess I better.
Do you need to do that right now? I mean, people are going to be...
Yes, I'll go do that right now.
Okay, folks, we're going to chat for a little bit longer. The show will start shortly. Okay. Thank you, Wesleloid. Yes, Jen does not normally... she normally gets, I don't know, a couple dozen orders a week, not 20 orders an hour. When she saw, just from the R&R show, how much, support came flooding in. I mean, she was just so overwhelmed with warm feelings, appreciation, and all of that, and she just wanted to do more. Okay, yeah, announce it in your Ark Nova. Okay, I did that. Okay, announce it in, and that just went live, so they're coming in like crazy because a lot of people are watching Ark Nova right now. Do it in the Roundup. Okay, I think this will be the last time, and hopefully that will. I mean, I don't want to get. But she's already had to change the delivery date because she realizes, this might take me a week or two to get to everything because it's just been such high volume. I don't know if she's going to talk about how much money specifically she's made, but I wouldn't be surprised if she must be getting close to a grand by now that is going directly to care.org. And that will literally save lives, which is amazing. Okay. Yes, Frank, it is fantastic. It's so satisfying for her. There's been such a huge response. If for anybody, there were some folks, I think Gil saw at Dice Tower West. Jen, I would say her booth in the retail area is probably one of the most consistently trafficked at the show because she does such amazing work, and people just love it. And so she always gets that kind of positive feedback. But this is a whole different thing. That's just been so amazing for her and for me too. Another thing we're going to do, the Jack Vassell Memorial Fund is going to start, I think, next week. And Jen's going to give away 4 of them to the highest bidder. And we said we would match whatever the highest bid was. So that's another thing that we're doing to also try to give back. And we're worried that somebody might bid $1,000 because sometimes things go that high in the Jack Vassell Memorial Fund. It's kind of scary. Okay, so...
Yeah. Okay, so I just did 100.
Okay, so there's 100. Okay.
Hopefully that will sort.
We will see what happens.
And I just also adjusted the shipping date again because I'm swamped.
Alrighty, let's see here.
In a lovely way, in a great way.
Yes, again, good problems to have. Okay, only one. Seeing them popular. Oh, Wesley Lloyd did buy the last one.
No!
You bought the last of the first gen. Now Jen has turned on the second gen spigot. So congratulations, Wes.
Listing quantity looks fixed now.
Okay. Oh, whoops. Yes. All right. Need to move this back over to her.
Oh.
Because you came back.
Okay.
Jen's AOA to fix the. All right. Oh yeah. Oh, Pio also just noticed there was only one available. Yeah. A refresh probably within a minute. It should say there are 100. And thank you, folks. Thank you, everybody who's watching this, who's considering.
Yes.
Again, it just, it means so much to us, but obviously it means so much to a lot more than just us. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Okay. All right. While you don't want to talk about money specifics, how much?
Well, they can figure out they're $30 a pop, and
Uh-huh.
if I'm going to sell 100, that would be 300 times.
Yeah. Well, I think isn't it like $3 for the Etsy fee or something like that?
Oh right, yeah. Etsy, the costs of Etsy and the credit card processing and stuff is about 10%, something like that.
So basically, it's like something like $27 for every one of these bought is going to Ukrainian refugees and whatnot.
Yep.
From the R&R, a few folks asked about, your shipping to Europe is painful because it is. It's painful. There's nothing Jen can do about that.
Yep.
She cannot subsidize as much as she'd like to. Do you want to talk about that, or because we haven't finalized that plan?
Oh well, actually, you know what would be really cool is if European people would get together with their gaming groups and make one order. Then they would pay one shipping charge.
Okay.
And I'd ship to one person, and they could distribute it to their friends.
All right. So
that's the ideal thing.
Do you want to talk about that?
Okay. Yes.
All right. Or I will, I suppose. Another resubscribe! Yay! 47, just 2 more to go. It might happen today that we unlock 3 sisters, which is very exciting.
Okay.
Not that you know anything about it.
I don't know anything about that.
That's Rahdo business that you don't care about at all.
I love you.
Let's see. Wesley Lloyd warns these will get so much on the Jack Vassell Memorial Fund. So, but we're committed. We'll match it. Right. Okay. So, do you want to say? Because we did talk about the other potential thing you could do for folks who would like to get them, but the shipping is too onerous. Oh,
I think we have to find somebody who's willing to do that before we offer it.
I meant this.
Oh, that. What was that? I'm sorry.
I have a way to. I'm going to mute for a second, folks. You can read our lips. Yeah, you want to do that?
13.
13.
Because of the stupid shipping.
Exactly. Yeah.
I hate shipping. I hate spending money on shipping.
Yeah, it's interesting. In Malta had cheap shipping everywhere in the world.
I could ship stuff for like 69 cents. Well, maybe
pretty much anywhere.
Maybe $1.20.
But we get back here,
ridiculous.
And the absolute cheapest you could do for just a little time, just this, $14 in shipping.
Well, to Europe.
I
think it's 17 right now to Europe. It's 14 to Canada.
To Canada.
And $45 to Australia.
Yeah.
Because for some reason they've done some crazy stuff there.
Yeah.
But it's like up to 6 ounces is the same cost. And these little guys weigh like an ounce.
Yep.
So
Yeah, it's insane.
It's insane.
But you know what? It's also a miracle that we can just put something in a box and then a few days later it will show up on the other side of the world.
That's true.
So we do take certain things for granted too. I mean,
it's a good time to be alive.
yeah.
Ooh, I'm freezing now.
I know. Yes, it's very cold in here.
I've
but
taken
that's okay.
off all my,
You took off
protective
your-
layers.
All right. So,
Okay.
But do you want to talk about the card exclusive thing?
No, I think most people are going to buy something, and let's deal with that later.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Then forget I said anything, folks.
We got enough going on right now.
Okay. Then let me turn on the. Oh, all right. Well, let's see. Any last thing from folks? A few days. My copy of Gutenberg's it took 4 months from Poland. It was manufactured in Poland, wasn't it? I'm sorry to hear that, Wes Lloyd. Hopefully, it was worth the wait. Hello, Ruel. Hey, Ruel. Ruel just showed up.
Hey.
With his trademark. Hi, friends.
Hi, friends. That's awesome.
Are they really your friends, Ruel? Is that all just part of a elaborate chat? No, it's not. If you've ever met Ruel, folks, he is very genuine. Okay.
Yes.
So, look out, Ruel. Competition for you in the co-host game. But
I don't think there's any competition.
No, Ruel has nothing to worry about.
Nope.
Okay. The R&J show is not a thing.
Well, if people want to just watch me sit here and go, I don't really have an opinion about that. I don't know anything about that.
Yep. Yeah. What is that? Yeah. Michelle says hello, by the way.
Oh, hey, Michelle.
All right. Okay, then we are going to start recording. I'm turning on my no longer paying attention to the audience scrolly whoozy majiggy. I am coming over to, let's see, Rahdo logo back here, and then we get to the browser with Shay when we go with him, and then I got to have the banner ready to go, but that shouldn't be a problem. Okay. Are you ready, Spaghetti Honey Pie? Would you like it? Would you like a sippy sip?
No, I'm good.
Then let's do it to it.
Okay.
Oh. Right, and then and when you leave, you will. I just sippy slurp spill. Yikes! Fortunately, that was off camera.
I can't take you anywhere.
And when you leave, you'll take the
Yes.
chair, and that'll be a reminder to me to fix the microphone.
Yes.
Fix the microphone.
I'll
Not
help
something I
you.
normally do.
I'll help
Okay,
you.
thank you. Hey everybody! Today, Rahdo runs through the games of February. And I am not alone. Hi, Honey Pie.
Hello.
Hi, how are
Hello.
you? This is my wife, Jen, in case anybody has long held the belief that she does not exist.
I do exist.
Bitch! There you go.
There was also proof at Dice Tower West.
Yep, where
as
we just
well.
got back from. And speaking of, Dice Tower West is why this is showing up 10 or 11 days late. Very sorry. I like to start out the month, but we just didn't have time in our prep to go down to Las Vegas and had a great time down there.
Yeah.
And we're back now. I'm going to tell you about all the games we played over the month of February. But before we get to that, there is a reason Jen is here. And of course, I'm sure you have heard of the ongoing struggles, the war, the invasion in Ukraine. And, the longer Jen looked at it, the more she realized she wanted to do something more than just donating. And so, what she has set out to do is create a new line of her signature Witwad. And here's a whole bunch she made last night and this morning. These are adorable little alien critters. No two are ever alike. They're kind of, they evolve. The glass takes them and they kind of grow in her hands while she's melting them in, temperatures of over 1,000 degrees, harnessing the power of fire. And so this new line that she is making are all colored blue and yellow, the Ukrainian flag colors. And what Jen is doing for the month of March, if you pick up any of these from her Etsy shop, 100% of the proceeds will go to care.org. Now, if you're interested in getting those, let me put that on screen. http://ukraine.rahdo.com. Go to that link. It'll take you to her Etsy store, and you can go shopping. Bear in mind, oops, sorry about that, folks. I hit a button. All right, we'll come back to that later. Anyway, sorry. What was I saying?
Etsy
That
store.
completely flummoxed me. Oh, yes, you go to her Etsy store. You can order them, and here's the thing. While you're ordering, you might want to, during the checkout process, when the little comment box comes up, type in the word Everdell. Because if you do, in addition to cool, one-of-a-kind, Witwat, which is what these are called. What in the world is that? It's a Witwat, or a Witwit. You will also get a limited edition Rahdo Runs Through promo set of cards for Everdell. and free of charge.
Yep.
So when you're checking out, type in Everdell in the comment field. You can go to down there at the bottom of the screen, ukraine.rowdow.com, or you can hit that eye in the top right corner screen and follow the link that way. And you can literally help my wife save lives. And I know Jen's here because she didn't want to do the sales pitch, but she just wanted to. She actually said, "Hey, say this and this and this." I'm like, "Honey, I think it's better if you come on and say it." So I will turn it over to her now.
Okay, cool. Well, I just, there is just so much going on. And when we were in Vegas, we did look up and see some different charities that were helping people in the Ukraine. And this one that we selected is by... also recommended by.
Yeah, all the donations go to the Ukrainian relief effort from care.org,
yeah,
care.org. And as Jen says, it was recommended by...
care.org.
Oh, did I say K?
Yeah.
I make goofs, folks. It's good to have somebody goof check me.
Yeah.
It was recommended by Ignacy Trevchek, who is, the head designer, creative director of Portal Games in Poland. So, and he knows personally people who are going through this. He worked with iGames, a very successful Ukrainian board game publisher. So, this was a recommendation, care.org, that he stands by, and we thought, if it's good enough for Ignacy, it's good enough for us. So, again, 100% of the proceeds for the sale of these goes to care.org's Ukraine humanitarian efforts.
Yep. So the thing is, there's not a lot that the average American can do right now to help other than just give money to them. And I, especially after being in Vegas and being away from home and all the things that I love and give me comfort and everything, it was so nice to come home and just look around at all of the wonderful, amazing things that are in my life. I mean, my stash of tea, my dogs, my nice comfy bed, the hair stuff I like to shower with. And, just all of these little tiny things that, all combine to make up an amazing life that makes me happy. And these people in the Ukraine right now, they don't have any of that.
Yeah.
They have none of those comforts, and let alone they're being killed and on the run, and it's just awful. And so I was thinking, what can I do? And this is something that I can do, and I'm so grateful that I've got a studio upstairs where I can just sit there in my happy place, and I can make these things and hopefully benefit these other people. And so I'm not a politician, I'm not a soldier, there's really nothing else that I can do, but I can do this. And I'm so pleased that there's been a real response, a lot of support from gamers, and I haven't done any promotion on my stuff. It's all been your stuff. So that's fantastic, and I really appreciate it. And I'm going to work really hard to make these great for you guys. And we're going to send off, like I said, all of the proceeds, everything but the Etsy fees and the credit card processing. Those, So we'll send it all off to the care.org.
Yeah, so you're basically donating your month of your life to making these. I mean, we mentioned it a couple days ago. You've already had,
I don't even know.
Don't even know how many orders. They're coming in fast.
The listing, you can buy one or you can buy like 6.
Oh, so
and some people have bought 6.
Right, because they're great gifts, folks. And also they're just great gamer accessories too. They're really wonderful for keeping score track or first player markers, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, or they're little cute little plant buddies, or you can put them next to your computer and they just make you smile, hopefully, and remind you that you're not in a war zone.
Yeah. And that you help somebody who was.
Yes, and that you help somebody. That's the main thing.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that was all I really wanted to say. I've got a whole bunch of orders that they just keep rolling in, so I'm going to say goodbye and go back upstairs and make some more.
Okay, honey pie.
Okay.
Her first and probably last appearance on the monthly roundup. But, So,
thank you!
Thank you, and thanks to everybody who who has the wherewithal to be able to support Jen's efforts. If you can't, it's totally understandable, of course. But I mean, we came back and just realized we are so lucky, and what can we do? And Jen, I mean, this has just changed the way she looks at her work. It's like fundamentally affected her on such a deep level. The incredible amount of support we've gotten, just because I mentioned it in the R&R show the other day and the Ark Nova video I did put up this morning. So don't worry, folks, you're not going to be hearing about this nonstop, but thank you for supporting her in her efforts to support the people who need us the most. And scene. Okay, folks, now are you ready to talk about some games? I imagine so. That's probably what you signed up for today. So let's get right to it. As always, I'm going to be counting down the games Jen and I played. But before we get to that, I've got to talk about, or I don't have to talk about, Shay, my number one contributor to the channel, played a few games and did some run-throughs for him too. So without further ado, take it away, Shay.
Hey folks, so I covered 3 games this month, and I really liked all of them, but of course we must rank these things. So my number 3 game was Assault on Doomrock Ultimate Edition. This is a paid preview, and this is a remake of a previous game. I haven't played the original, but I really liked this new version. It is sort of a short-form campaign RPG in that you play in a 3-act structure, and it really reminded me of roguelike video games. You know, it's got this fantasy RPG setting. You pick a class, you get a random attribute, and you start with some skills for that class, but you can upgrade yourself with new skills and new items, and it comes from a big deck of tons of different options, which means that as you're playing, you do end up finding some things that are a lot more valuable than others, depending on your current run. And for fans of roguelikes, that's going to be a big draw because it's always going to be different. For people who are a little bit less interested in that, maybe it's not going to hit quite as hard. But I also really liked the 2-part structure of the game. Like I said, it plays out in 3 acts. Each act is an adventure phase and then a combat phase. And the adventure phase is cool. You walk around town and do little like side quests and stuff. But I really like the combat because it has this interesting kind of stripped down mentality to it. Everything's with like poker chips. It kind of reminds me of Too Many Bones in that way. And the opponents, you don't have to worry about like a hex grid or anything, any positional movement. Everything is either next to you, it's either adjacent to you, or it's distant. And so if you want to move to something, you just move to it. It doesn't matter how far away it is. You just go there. And then things are in groups, and everything in a group is adjacent to each other. It all just works really well. So the combat, even though I felt was fairly deep, also was easy to understand because it was pretty straightforward and pretty, like I said, kind of stripped down in that way. The only reason it's at the low end of my list is that it can be a tiny bit uneven, as roguelikes often are, because it depends a little bit on the luck of the draw for the items and stuff that you get. But I do really like it regardless. Now, my number 2 is Dun Huang, and I might be pronouncing that incorrectly. Apologies if I am. This is another commissioned piece, or another paid preview, I should say. And this is an economic game about Dunhuang, which is a city, I believe, in China, sort of on the crossroads of a bunch of different trade routes, which means a lot of different, mercantiles and stuff get passed through there. What that means for the game is that every time you play, you are going to pick 3 modules, and each module is a different kind of good. So there's things like silk and jade and gold and porcelain china. So that's cool and all, but what it means is that there are different rules for each module. So every time you play, it's slightly different. Now there's this kind of standard worker placement economic game as the bones of it, and then on top of that, you always add on 3 modules every time you play. So I think that does a really good job of making sure that every game feels a little bit different. Every game that I played worked really well together. I didn't find any combinations that didn't work together. I also thought that it worked well at from 2 players to 4, because it does change the game a little bit depending on your player count. With 2 players, it's much more of a tug of war, but it's actually 3 different tug of wars, or 4 different tug of wars, because you have the 3 modules and then there's one sort of generic thing, a bunch of different like objectives that you're working for. Whereas with a multiplayer game, it's a more broad objective system, and everyone can get points in different ways. So I think there's a lot to like there. The only thing I would say about it is that it can be a little bit difficult to learn everything. Every time you play, you kind of got to learn a new system if you're trying new modules out. But it wasn't that hard for me to learn, and I really appreciated how different each version of the game could be. So that was my number 2, Dun Huang. But my number 1, another paid preview, is Tidal Blade's Rise of the Unfolders. Man, did I love this game. I don't have anything negative to say about it. It is just good. It's a campaign RPG that uses the art from the original Tidal Blades game, or, there's new art as well. It's all from the same world, though. And if you haven't played the original Tidal Blades game, that's fine. It shares no gameplay mechanics with that original game, or virtually none. It is a completely separate game. So you don't need to play the first one to get into the second one, even though the second one is a story RPG. If you play the first one, you might have a better appreciation for it, but it's not necessary. It was great for me. Like, I hadn't played the first one until about a week before I played Rise of the Unfolders. I liked that I played the first one, but like I said, not necessary. Anyway, the Rise of the Unfolders is really, really solid campaign RPG. It's one of those games that really makes me wish that I had the time to go through the full campaign, because I would absolutely do it. it's the campaign itself, the story seemed really interesting. You're playing as these, guardians of this archipelago world, and there's this magical thing called the Divide, I believe, or the Fold, obviously. The Fold. And Fold is sort of like the wall in Game of Thrones. It's protecting us from the monsters that are on the other side. But, oh no, the Fold is breaking down. The monsters are getting through. So you need to go in and sort things out. So the story was interesting. It pulled me in. The artwork absolutely helps it along with that. But the gameplay is no slouch either. There's tons of things that are familiar to people who play these kind of campaign RPG board games. But on top of that, there is an innovative new system called the Nexus Grid. Basically, you have a hand of cards. These cards are your actions, and every turn everyone's going to choose one that sort of determines their initiative order, and then when it's your turn, you're going to slot it into the grid, and you put it onto a space in the grid, and then you choose either a row or a column, including that card that you just placed, and that will and then you activate everything in that row or column. So if there are other cards there that you've played in previous turns, you get extra powers. But even if you haven't, there's symbols on the grid itself that give you something else you can do. So it has this really interesting puzzle of like trying to figure out the best value for your turn. And on top of that, if you have filled a row or column and you use that row or column, then you have to discard all of those cards. So there's a lot of really interesting timing to this game. I think that the Tidal Blades is just fantastic. I unreservedly recommend checking it out. But those are the 3 games that I covered this month, so I will pass it back to you, Rahdo. Bye, folks.
Okay, thank you, Shay. Those are very, very cool. You are making me regret not having taken on Tidal Blades for myself, because that also sounds really, really nice. But with Shay out of the way, we are now going to talk about the games Jen and I played. And I think I've got 16, if I recall correctly. Don't hold me to that. I have been known to make goofs from time to time. And what I'm going to do for starters is talk about, what would you call it? Expansions. Expansions that caught our eye, and we sat down and played. I think I've got a countdown of just 3 of those, and then I'll have 13 actual games after I do my little mini expansion / 2.0 offshoot, right? Okay then. Well, without any further ado, let's start my countdown with my number 3 on the list, Tang Garden Seasons. And I wasn't quite sure what to expect with this one. I played Tang Garden when it was on Kickstarter a million years ago, quite frankly. And I always thought it was a very, very clever a tile laying game, communal tile laying game, along the lines of a Carcassonne. And I thought there were some very neat ideas, and it had amazing components, which unfortunately kind of got in the way of gameplay a tiny bit. And there was also some randomness that just didn't really quite sit with me, so we thought it was smart, and oh my gosh, was it popular. Tang Garden was such a monster hit for publisher Thundergriff. But cut to a few years later, they contact me again and say, hey, would you be interested in the new expansion? I'm like, I don't know, maybe. Oh, it's co-op. I'm like, what? Co-op? A cooperative tile laying game? Yes, please. Because where is our cooperative tile laying games? I had to give this a go. Tile laying is one of my favorite mechanisms, and yet a pure tile layer is 99 times out of 100 going to be a competitive game, inspired by your Carcassones and whatnot. So I could not wait to give this a go, and it works fantastically. It works great as a solo game or a co-op game where players are racing against time, because we're still doing all the same, tile laying and tile drafting of the original game, but we're working together instead of at cross purposes, trying to help each other rather than trying to hinder each other. So of course we're going to enjoy it more. But the interesting thing is, it's called Seasons because the co-op mode, I believe, is summer, and that's just one of the seasons. There are a bunch of additional modules that have been thrown into the game as well, and they add all kinds of new stuff like worker placement. They really elevate the overall game, and I was very impressed. But I have to say, I was pulled in for the co-op, and I was not disappointed at all with my number 3 expansion of the month, Tang Garden Seasons. Then we move on to number 2, Terraforming Mars, the Ares Expedition. And I'm not actually quite sure what the name of this is. It actually has 3 names: Crisis, Foundations, and another one. Oh, Discovery, Foundations, Crisis. And like 10 Gardens before it, this is an expansion or expansions that adds a whole bunch of different unique elements to the original game. You want to play Ares Expedition with 5 or 6 players? You got it. You want to add, upgradable action cards, which are awesome. They so elevate this game. I love them so much. You got it. There's a lot of really cool. You want to add events or objectives, medals, the same kind of stuff that originally got added to Terraforming Mars. You got it. Those are all very, very cool. But once again, that's not what pulled me in. I was pulled in by the co-op game. Oh, yeah. Interestingly, Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition came in the original box with an okay variant that would work co-op. It was all right, but I don't think anybody would ever get the game for that. But the new, again, it makes it a really solid solo game or a really interesting and compelling co-op where players have so many interesting ways to work with each other. The idea of the original game, Race for the Galaxy style, of everybody in secret picking what their action is going to be and then hoping they can figure out what the other players do. It's so game-changing to openly discuss, okay, is anybody going to develop this turn? Because I really need to do it, but I am actually desperate to get some more money. So, okay, I wasn't going to do, okay, I'll do it because I think I can do this other thing. That level of collusion is wonderful. And it's, it makes me want to play a co-op San Juan. I was absolutely just tickled pink with it. We already really, really liked Ares Expedition, although if you watch my original run-through for it, I did have a few problems with it. And most interestingly, in my original run-through, I talked about a solution I suspected would work. It turns out they have now taken that solution with this expansion and made it an official variant way to play. A way to bring in the dummy player into the 2-player game so it's as deep and rich as it is a higher player counts. And that simple little thing, that rule has now been made official, made me so happy. But what I really came for and what I got, what I wanted, was a compelling co-op game that is quite unlike any of them out there. And it's built from the ground up with it in mind. It's not an afterthought. It's sharp. It's fun. It's my number 2. Terraforming Mars, Ares Expedition, Discovery, Foundations, Crisis. You'll have to check out the Kickstarter page, folks, when it goes live in March. I don't know if these are like 3 separate things that are boxed together. I'm not quite sure. I have not seen it myself on the crowdfunding page, but it'll be coming soon. But without any further ado, one that have already covered, my number 1 expansion, although it's not an expansion, it is a... It's a 2.0, is La Granja, the Deluxe Master Set. And I'm so happy with this. La Granja has for the longest time been in my top 50 games of all time. Absolutely brilliant. If I recall correctly, I think it was a debut design. And we were blown away by it. I've held on to it for years. It's one of the games that actually made the trip back from when we lived in Malta back to the United States. We loved it so much. But I recently got rid of my original first edition La Granja because I knew this was coming and it adds so much. Both those previous games add a bunch of modules, but they got nothing on La Granja. There are so many new cool modules that can mix this game up and provide so many fun new variations of the core gameplay. No co-op, or at least none yet that I've seen, sadly. Oh, that would have been amazing. But, I mean, you've got designers like Stefan Feld, my favorite designer of all time, stepping up to the plate and adding a new gameplay that enriches the overall experience without watering it down. Oh, man. And so now when you play this, if you get the Deluxe Master Set, every time you play, you're going to mix 2 or 3 different of all these different modules and get a unique experience every time you play. I already loved La Granja so much. I love it even more now. So that was my number 1 expansion / 2.0 La Granja Deluxe Master Set. But now, that was talking about, expansions of existing stuff. Let's talk about some new stuff. Starting with my number 13, Ariantis, which is actually... I say this is new, but it's not really. It is from designer Paolo Mori, who's been working, in the industry for decades. And he's always been an incredibly sharp and quirky offbeat designer. His designs are always really far out. And Ariantis is basically a new version. Maybe I should have put this in the other list, actually. It's a new retake of Carolus Magnus, one of his more popular designs from like 10 or 15 years ago. And the interesting thing is, this is at its heart a very fresh, it feels modern. There's nothing that feels old or outdated about this. If Carolus Magnus hadn't existed, people playing this would say, oh my gosh, this just feels like it was designed yesterday because it's so full of really cool new ideas. But it's an area control game where in the original game we were in ancient Rome trying to, wrangle the provinces of Rome, by doing area control. Now it's a fantastical academy type situation where there are these floating islands and we are trying to deploy students onto the islands who we have the favor of. Because what we're also, at the same time, trying to get area majority on these islands so we can control them. And the interesting thing is the islands ultimately float together to become bigger and more valuable. But at the same time we're doing that, we are also trying to get the favor of the professors who teach these different students. Because the thing is, there might be a whole bunch of pixie students on a given island. And that's really great because I have the favor of the pixie professor. So this island is mine. You've got two options. You could ignore it and fight for other islands, or you could try to move in students that work well for you, or you could turn the pixie professor to your side. And then all of a sudden, those forces that belong to me, they're gone. And now, am I going to be able to get that back? It's a really clever system where you've got multiple, individual battles for control over the professors, battle for control over the islands. And then, that's original Carolus Magnus I'm talking about. This new version has brought in special player powers, all kinds of more modern things, and it's fantastic. The only reason it comes in at the bottom of my list is it's an area control game. And it can be pretty hardcore in your face, and huge turns where I thought I had this, and somebody's skulking around shadows and makes a big move, and suddenly the whole world changes. Like, I worked so hard for that, and you stole it from me. Brilliant, super smart, but very cutthroat in the best possible way. So if you like area control battles and you want something that is, like I said, feels like it was just designed yesterday, a brand new design, and yet it has stood the test of time. People love Carolus Magnus. That's a game that still gets played today. Well, you might want to check out number 13, Ariantis. Then we've got number 12, Static Blood Moon, which, by the way, is a paid Kickstarter preview. The game should be coming out in March. It might have been pushed till April. I'm not sure about that. But it is a very, very cool, I'm going to say abstract, two-player battle of wits. This is a dice drafting game where at the beginning of each round, the game plays through 3 rounds, you roll a ton of colorful 10-sided dice all over the board and separate them into different sections. And on your turn, it's super simple. This game is so elegant. You simply take 2 dice and add them to, I believe it's called a dodecagon that you have on your board. And what you're trying to do is you are trying to either create pairs or 3 of a kinds, or straights, like a 4, 5, 6, a 1, 2, 3, at the edge of each of the triangles of your dodecagon, but also along the outer rim of your dodecagon. So every die that you are placing has 3 scoring potentials. What else is on its personal triangle, what comes before it on the outskirts, and what goes after it on the outskirts. And what seems so incredibly simple, just every turn, grab 2 dice. You have to grab different colored dice unless you have special powers that let you break the rules and like grab the same die or go to the place you can't normally go to get wilds. It's super sharp. Very fun. Jen loved it. She really, really dug this. And there's an interesting thing about the game too. I said it plays over 3 rounds. The first round is very simple. All you're trying to do is get matches on the outer edge of the triangles. The second round, you're only trying to get the outer circumference of the dodecagon. The third and final round, where it gets really crunchy, is when you're trying to complete both those objectives. And if you only play the third round, which is what Jen and I found was the most fun because it's really super crunchy, you've got one of the crunchiest, puzzliest filler games for 2 players you've ever seen, because you can sit down and play this game for a solid 10-15 minutes, and yet it is a brain-busting solid 10 or 15 minutes. But then on top of that, if you're playing with your kids or something like that, you can play on just the triangle version, so it gets a little bit simpler. So there's a lot of flexibility to this game too. I really respect it, generally loved it. My only problem is, the reason it comes in so low is it is an abstract game. I mean, there's ostensibly a theme about returning the sun because we've all been lost under the static blood moon, but this is an abstract dice drafting game. I need a little bit more story in my games, but the gameplay is super sharp. And Jen absolutely loved it. This would rate much higher on her personal list. It comes in for me at number 12, Static Blood Moon. Then we go on to number 11, Tamashi, which is another paid Kickstarter preview. By the way, I should say that, what was it? Terraforming Mars, Tang Garden, and La Granja were also Kickstarter. Man, this month, the month of February, I have never seen such a high number of amazing Kickstarters coming out. Of course, this always happens every year that, we take pretty much the month of November and December off. And then in January and February, a ton of great new crowdfunding games come out. And February is no different. I've gotten so many amazing titles. So you're going to see a higher percentage than normal of Kickstarter previews in this particular rundown. I suspect things will slow down in April and May and probably go back to the normal, okay, well, it's 2 retail games for every one Kickstarter, but this month it was the other way around. But anyway, sorry, that's neither here nor there. Let's talk about Tamashi, which is a very, very cool game that'll be on GameFound, not on Kickstarter. And by the way, folks, if you just check the links down in the show notes, anything that is a crowdfunding game, you will find links to the Kickstarter pages for those games if you want to learn more about them or mark that, hey, I'd like to be notified when the game goes live, etc., etc. What is Tamashi? I would describe it as Blade Runner meets the Terminator. And that is a very, very cool combination because it's a Blade Runner, cyberpunk, neo-noir world where we're running around dealing with robots and stuff like that. But in this world, the AI, the robots, have taken over, and humanity is on the run. So you've got 2 really great storytelling franchises that blend together really nicely because this is a campaign story-driven game. You can play any of the chapters standalone, or you can play through a narrative where you meet characters and go on adventures and play through multiple connected adventures. Your choice either way. That's all the narrative and the presentation, which is all great. The art looks fantastic. The game looks stunning. But forget about all that. I was always interested in Tamashi because of the gameplay. Because it has 2 halves. There is the meat world, the physical world, where we're running around, having adventures, interacting with people, fighting monsters, going on the run, solving quests. But then we have our own player board off to the side, which is the digital world. And on that, we are literally playing a sliding glass or a sliding puzzle game, a mini game that is driven by bag building. Think Orleans. Bag building that plugs into a sliding puzzle so that we can program our moves to be able to meet the needs of whatever is going on, whatever we run across in this cyberpunk world. And it's so sharp. That is a fun, constantly evolving puzzle, plus all the bag building is great. But the way it combines with the actual adventure gameplay on the main board, it is sublime. It's absolutely fantastic. It was one of my favorite games I played this month. It's coming in a little bit higher. It's kind of the opposite of Static Blood Moon because my wife thought the gameplay was great, but she did not like the grim and dour and depressing, oh, humanity is screwed, dark, neo-noir Blade Runner future. If this had been a high fantasy game, although I don't know how the programming would work there. I guess you'd call them spells or something like that. Then I think she would have been as enjoying as much as me, and it probably would have pushed into my top 5 for us combined. But I recommend it highly. It should be coming pretty soon to GameFound as well. My number 11, Tamashi. And then I'm going to pause for a second. Hey, everybody. I just paused. I made no noise there, so I'd be able to find this because I'm going to have to cut this part out. I believe I just heard a raid. Did I not? Welcome, Raiders. You caught me in the middle of recording my show, so I couldn't say hi, but I just wanted to say hi. Let's see. Who was it? 20 viewers from Master Goblin Games. Hopefully you're having fun. Here's what's happening. Every month, I do a run-through of all the games my wife, Jen, and I have played over the preceding 4 months. And over the last few months, I've been streaming it live and then cutting it down, like cutting this part that we're talking about right now, where I'm talking to you out, to turn it into my monthly YouTube video. So I thought, I heard you in my ear. I had to finish the entry I was on, but then I thought, I'll just pause for a second and make sure everything's going okay. So, oh my gosh, I see an explosion of icons. I don't know what to say about all of that. Raid. Yes, lots of raiding. Hello, Daryl and Tech and Bazinator. See, I didn't meet you at Dice Tower West, did I? I was looking for you. Oh, well. Let's see. Hello, Streamlabs. Oh, no, that's my thing saying, did we get Master Goblin Games? Thank you for subscribing. Did that do it? Oh my gosh, we are at 48 of 49 subs to unlock the live playthrough where Ruel and I will do an RVR, where Ruel and I will play a 3-player game where the third player is you, the audience. One more subscribe. I might get it done before this stream is out. That is very excellent. Whew, okay. Well, I just wanted to say hi because I got to get back to work. I got to get back to filming. That's what I'm here to do because I got to put this video live up tomorrow. So I just want to say welcome. Enjoy. Let me know in the comments if you think everything I'm saying is crazy. After I'm done, if anybody's interested, I'll do some Q&A with the audience. If you have any questions, post them, but start the question with a question mark. Don't end with a question mark. Start with a question mark. Like, question, what's your favorite color? Question mark, what's your favorite color? Because that will put it in a special queue so that I won't miss the questions after I'm done with the roundup. And then I circle back around and do some Q&A with everybody. So, okay. Woohoo. Let's see here. Let me just get one more swig since I took a break for a second. Oh, Bassinator, you did see me. Oh, you know what's really bad? I did see somebody else, another female Twitch streamer. I can't remember who it was now. And with the mask, I thought it was you. And I was very embarrassed. I was very excited because I love your energy. You're fantastic. You're just so much fun to watch. So nice to meet you digitally. Hopefully catch you at the next time. Okay. Oh, you didn't see me. That was probably one of the few times I had to step away because every once in a while I'd go to the bathroom or to the library. But for the most part, I was there all 5 days. Sorry I missed you. 2 ships crossing in the night. We'll figure it out someday. Okay. Oh, and I see Fem Sensei is pumping questions into the queue for later, so that's good. Let me go queue stuff back up so I can continue. Although, boom goes the dynamite. 1024 EV just handed out a community sub, and that did it. Unfortunately, I have no event tied into these, so it's not like some kind of big fireworks display happens when I hit the 49 subscribers. But that's it. I will have to let Ruel know he's going to have to set aside some time this month so that we can all play with you some Three Sisters. And I'm very excited about that. And I will have to reset this timer because that's the way Twitch works. Twitch always wants us grinding because all the subscriptions cancel every month and we have to keep asking for them. There's a lot of things I like about Twitch. I don't know if I like the grind, but that's okay. Let's just have some fun. Let me get back to the countdown. Where were we? All right, so I got to come back to browser. I need to turn back on my little notice at the top of the screen saying that, hey, moving forward, I won't be able to interact with the chat, but by all means, ask questions. We'll do the Q&A afterwards, but start them with a question mark. I need to update that text to say, start your questions with a question mark so I don't miss them. I'm not going to do that right now. I got too many cooks in the kitchen. So, all right, so what was I on? I was just on Tamashi, which was my number 11. So we're on to number 10. Okay. Alrighty, let's just go on ahead and rewind this a little bit. It'll be kind of roughly where it was. All right, and I think I had just said that was my number 11, Tamashi. Okay. And now let's move on to my number 10 of the month, Art Deco, which is a very, very cool little deck building game from designer Tate Wu. And I have always been a fan of Tate ever since I played a very, very cool logical deduction game of his many, many years ago. So I'm always on the lookout for what he's doing next. And we really, really like deck builders. And my wife is a professional glass artist. So things set in the world of art are certainly interesting to her. And I gotta say, we had a really fun time playing this game. In Art Deco, which is spelled D-E-C-K. Get it? It's a deck builder. Anyway, maybe you don't care for that, but let me tell you about the game. Don't hold that against it, those kinds of title puns. We are art collectors, and our deck represents all the different types of art we have. And the game has several different suits, like different types of art. Modern, classical, kind of ancient art designs and whatnot. And over the course of the game, when you got in your hand, you can use those works of art as money to be able to buy more art. and put that into your deck so you're expanding your collection. But, and that's typical deck building type stuff. But one of the things you want to do with your pieces of art is put them on display at one of the 5 different exhibitions at a museum. Because what happens is, when you put, say, one of your Art Deco pieces on display, well, not only do you potentially unlock certain bonuses, because there's these different bonuses that are put in all the different exhibits, and we're racing to be the first or the second place to get points and unlock powers and all of that, but not only do you do that, you make Art Deco art pieces more valuable. And if you have a deck full of Art Deco pieces, all of a sudden, you've got a deck full of a lot more money to buy more stuff. And the tricky thing is, so does everybody else around the table, because a rising tide floats all boats. If I made Art Deco more valuable, it affects everyone in the game. And so if people see me investing in a lot of Art Deco, they know I'm probably going to try to drive the price up on that. And they might decide, oh, those are going to go up in the future. I should grab some of those, not because I ever am going to bother trying to put them on display, but because they know I'm going to do it, their opponent, and so they could piggyback off that. It's really interesting. Like Dominion, this is a deck builder where you can just buy more money cards. Although it's interesting, the money cards come with special powers that are one-time uses as well, so that's actually really cool. But you could win this game never getting a single equivalent of a gold or a silver or a copper, because the artworks themselves that you're putting become more and more and more valuable as the game goes on. And that is fascinating. It really creates a very unique feel. And the deck building you're doing is so much more interactive because you've constantly got to be paying attention to what other players are speculating on, because maybe you should be doing that too. Even if you don't plan on ever doing anything with it other than just converting them into money in your back pocket, it's very, very sharp. And it was our number 10 of the month, Art Deco. Then we go on to number 9, The Great Wall, which is a fantastic, what would you call it? Tower defense game, I suppose. The Great Wall of China has fallen into disrepair. And the hordes are coming, and they are going to overrun the capital unless we can invest our time and efforts into raising and rallying troops. And there's all different kinds of troops you can get. And by the way, the miniatures in this game are fantastic. But even if you get the lower cost version, which doesn't have miniatures, it has meeples, it comes with stickers for all the meeples. So the meeples look fantastic too. It's a great, great production on this game. But anyway, you are doing very unique and interesting worker placement to be able, like I said, to rally more troops that you can deploy out into the fields to fight, or to get the resources you need to rebuild the wall or other barricades that will protect. And that's the main way you score points. You have to please the emperor by achieving all these goals and saving the land. What drives all of it, though, as a very interesting action selection mechanism, is everybody has a hand of cards. And when on your turn, everybody chooses in a round. Everybody's going to pick simultaneously what card they're going to do. Everybody has access to the same cards, whether you're going to get resources or hire troops or build or whatever it might be. And when everybody reveals at the same time what card they're playing. And on each card, there's stuff that the person who played it, gets to do, and there's stuff you get to do. And then there's a third thing on the card that maybe I get to do if one of my opponents played a different type of card. So it's a really interesting twist on, we've seen this, ever since Race for the Galaxy in San Juan, the idea of, cards where, hey, if I do something, other people get to do like a lesser version of it. This is kind of the same, but really takes that to a whole new level and does very, very interesting stuff in it, because you might do radically different things than I am going to do based on the card I played. And I might be able to do stuff depending on if I can anticipate that you're going to play a different card. And so all of that is very cool. It's also really cool the way worker placement works, because several of the action spots you're sending your workers to will not activate until a certain number of spaces has been filled. And chances are you can't do it all yourself. You only have so many clerks, I believe is what your workers are called. So when somebody sees you starting to send workers out to one of these places that has a lot of spaces to fill, you better believe other places say, oh, I wasn't planning on doing that, but maybe I should jump in on that action too, because I'd like to get a little something out of that just by one worker, and I can help finish that. Or you say, oh, I have no desire to do that. If I jump in there, I'll be helping them, and they probably need it. I'll just stay away and let their poor worker languish and not get anything done. And then that player has to figure out, oh crap, nobody's joining me. What am I going to do? So it's multiple clever systems that drive a very sharp worker placement game. And then there's one other thing I didn't mention. You can play this competitively or cooperatively. And I have to admit, I really enjoyed the co-op mode. A lot of times if a game does co-op and competitive, it feels like the co-op is just kind of an afterthought, but not here. It is rich and deep and meaningful. And, the whole idea of, I will play a card that gives you something to do on your turn takes on a whole new level of importance when you need something desperately to do and you want me to play a particular card, but I want to play a different card. But we're working together. How are we going to compromise and figure out what's best for all of us? Really sharp, really fun. It was a monster hit. It was on Kickstarter. I totally missed it then, but I got the retail copy, and both Jen and I enjoyed the competitive and the cooperative side of number 9, The Great Wall. But now let's move on to number 8, Autobahn. Now, this is a game that I believe is going to go on crowdfunding sometime in March. I do not have a date for it yet, but I've done an early preview for it, and it is a very, very impressive game. I have to admit, I had a deep and really hardcore interest in the subject matter, an economic Euro that is all about tracking the progress of Germany after World War II all the way up to the modern day as they rebuilt their economy. And the main driver of their economy was the development of their famous motorway, the Autobahn. And an interesting thing is, because this game covers such a huge, almost a century of development, one of the big things is the game is split into 3 eras. And at the end of the 3rd era, which I guess you could say is our modern today type era, that begins in the 1990s during German reunification. Throughout 2/3 of the game, the upper left, the northeast quadrant of the board is completely cut off. We can't get into the Soviet bloc countries. We can't get into East Germany. We just develop and watch as West Germany prospers. And we are all, it's a competitive game. We're all trying to do our best to make sure Germany, rises as fast as it can. But so much of this game is about, I see you just extended the motorway over to that new city over there. Oh, well, that means I could now extend off of you and reach Amsterdam, which I have an objective that I need to get to Amsterdam. Thank you very much. Players are constantly creating opportunities for each other. But in addition to all that, all this route building stuff, which then leads to literally pick up and deliver. The thing is, Jen and I both agree, we can't stand pick up and deliver. It's like literally one of our least... I would almost rather play a roll and move game if you did something clever with it, than I would a pick up and deliver game. I have actually played some good roll and move games. Merlin from Stefan Feld is a great roll and move game. Anyway though, sorry. It's neither here nor there. Pick up and deliver never really works for us, and this game has a lot of it, because as we build these motorways up, one of the big ways to score points is, get these growing industries in these major cities delivering their goods to other countries via the Autobahn that we built. Here's the thing that makes it brilliant, though. If you spend a turn to load up a truck, that's it. The truck drives itself. You are not required to spend action after action after action slowly moving that truck from the north down to the motorway so it can get to Amsterdam and drop off those appliances so you can get whatever it is your goal is chasing for. Instead, the gameplay is driven. It's a worker placement game, although your workers are cards, and these cards represent the different Autobahns. If I play a green card, that means I'm working on the green Autobahn this turn. If I play a red card, the red Autobahn. And don't worry, there are color-friendly symbols and all of that, so you don't have to worry. If I recall correctly, I believe that's the case. The interesting thing is, you play one of these color cards to say, I'm going to extend, or I'm going to build stations, or I'm going to upgrade, or whatever it might be. But the thing is, those trucks that you loaded up a while ago and are just sitting out there waiting, you never spend a turn making them move. Instead, if I play a red Autobahn card so I can do work on the red Autobahn, and I have a truck on the red Autobahn, the truck will drive automatically by itself. And so once you've got trucks on the board, everything becomes a puzzle of, right, okay, my truck, next turn, it's going to move from the red to the black Autobahn, and that means next turn I'm going to want to play a black card so that I can have the truck keep going. But what do I want to do on the Black Audubon? Oh, nobody's built a station over there. But station, I don't get any special bonuses because I didn't become an administrative genius at stations. I'm really more about the truck logistics. Do I do this anyway? So the fact that even though this is a heavy pick up and deliver game, but the pick up and deliver happens automatically as kind of like a bonus action I get to do when picking what I want to do each round. It is brilliant. It has done what seems to me to be the impossible. Made a pick up and deliver game that Jen and I really enjoy, which is why I was so very impressed with our number 8 Audubon. And again, that was a paid preview for a game that's coming on Kickstarter pretty soon. But let's now move on to number 7, Hamlet. And again, full disclosure, this was a paid preview. A game I'm about to talk about. I should also mention, this is a game that was designed by a friend of mine. So just a little bit of extra declaration. But you know what? You never have to worry about what my personal opinion of the game is. Just go watch the run through. It's live right now because Hamlet is fundraising as we speak. And I loved it. Jen loved it too. This was one of our favorites. We're getting into our favorites of the stuff we played this month. It is a communal tile laying game where everybody's working competitively. We're all trying to be the best contributor to the growth of our Hamlet so we can become a town. We are laying tiles. We're drafting tiles, spending money in a small world way where, I want that third one. That means I got to pay to skip the first and the second, making those attractive for players. That's always a great mechanism. I don't know why we don't see it more. It was great in not Splendor, but the Splendor Killer. Oh, that's neither here nor there. Anyway, so the drafting is fun. The tiling is particularly interesting because of these tiles. I have never seen such weird, funky shaped tiles. But it's important that they're weird and funky shaped because this is not a regimented grid or hex pattern we're trying to build into. It feels much more natural and flowing and organic because of all these oddly shaped tiles. As we expand the Hamlet so we can get more goods production or goods conversion stuff. But the true beating heart of this game is not making the goods, but transporting the goods so that we can get them to new sites so we can build more stuff. This is a game of goods transportation's logistics. Because while you can invest and get more and more workers that will activate all the different tiles to do various and sundry actions, it's almost like kind of worker placement game, but not really. It's a worker movement game. There's another type of worker you have. Donkeys, which the game comes with cool little donkey meeples. My prototype just had discs for the donkeys, sadly. But you want to be creating, as the Hamlet gets bigger and grows in unexpected ways because of these weird, organic, oddly shaped tiles, you want to get more and more of your donkeys spread all over the land. Because if you can create a chain of donkeys from one tile to another, any goods can instantly travel along there. And if you can't get the goods out there to the far eastern fringe of your Hamlet, which you desperately need to do so that you can activate the building that's there or build another building that you want to build because it's part of a secret objective you have or whatever it might be, or public objective, I should say. It's really great. Not worker placement. The more workers you have, they all stay on the board all the time. It's just that they can zip around from place to place. Players don't block each other. It's really just a very straightforward action selection mechanism that's nice and fast and satisfying. It's building up those transportation networks. Although, interestingly, it's not a pick up and deliver game because you focus on the network of donkeys. Once you've done that, you can zip stuff all around the place just like that, lickety-split. And it's so satisfying. And you can reprogram your networks. If, I don't care about the eastern front anymore, I need to start spreading south, you can take actions to redeploy the donkeys elsewhere rather than the very expensive hiring new donkeys. But then all of a sudden, something really great happens on the eastern front. Are you going to move your donkeys back over there so you can get the goods transported? It's a fun, fast-playing game. It doesn't look like any other tile layer that's ever come out. If you're watching, just look at what's on screen. And again, I love the quirkiness of it. I love the callback to some of my favorite PC games of all time, Surf City or The Settlers or Deseedler. This game was literally inspired by those. Again, the designer's a friend of mine. I've talked to him about it, and we thought it was great. Number 7 of the month, Hamlet. But even better is number 6, Pessoa. This is a very interesting game based on the one of the most famous poets in history, a Portuguese poet named Fernando Pessoa, who was really active around the early 1900s, and what he was mostly known for is that he had a whole bunch of pen names that he wrote under. But he didn't just use these, to publish in different magazines. He actually created entire lives for these other characters, this whole coterie of people. And not only did he just create these fictional backstories for them, he would actually live their lives. He would actually go out in the world and say, oh, no, I'm not Fernando Pessoa, I'm this other person. And he would live their lives. And so it's a really fascinating guy. When he wrote, he wrote in completely different voices about completely different topics, because that's what these other people that were in his head would write about. And it's a brilliant, interesting piece of history for, again, one of the most renowned and influential poets of all time. According to the rule book. But what's interesting in terms of gameplay is this is a worker placement game. And each player takes on the role of one of those, they're called heteronyms, one of the specific real-world historical personages that he created. We all have special powers. We are all trying to exert our influence over the man Pessoa himself. Because on our turn, we can use a worker that represents us, a fictional character, and that character can go to certain places and do certain things. And that represents Pessoa changing his outfit and going out as a person. But this has got to be the tightest worker placement game in board game history. There are just not enough worker placement spots. You are constantly, on your given turn, usually you only have one place you could choose to go. And you might think, oh, that's terribly frustrating. I don't want to play a worker placement game where I don't have any choices of where to go. But that's the interesting thing. The primary resource you have in this game is creative energy. And you can use your creative energy to take control of the real Pessoa. Because Pessoa can go anywhere he wants, anytime he wants, because he's the real person. We're just figments of his imagination, so we're really limited and restricted in what we can do. So, I only got one place to go. Now, if you can play smart and you can anticipate what that place is going to be, that what your opponents are going to leave you, then you don't have to spend your creative energy actually making Pessoa go where you want to go. You can go to the place, and then you can send that creative energy drafting cards. These cards are snippets of the real poems of the man himself. And what we're racing to do is create new poems that will stand the test of time. It's a wonderful theme. It is an odd, quirky worker placement game. You've never played another one like it. Again, a worker placement game where there's no place to place your workers unless you are willing to give up your most precious resource, and you need that for other things. So you are so hugely lockstep tied to the actions of other players. I mean, that's always the case for worker placement games. There's always the potential that, I'm blocked out of a place, but you've never seen one like this. And it really puts the screws to you, creates a lot of tension, and requires you to come up with some very clever and creative on-the-fly thinking, which is so appropriate because Pessoa himself was a very creative and clever man. That was my number 6, Pessoa. Then, let's talk about number 5, Pilgrim. Oh yeah. This is a Mon Cala game that's live on GameFound right now, if I recall correctly. And this might be my wife Jen's, this would be her number 1 of the month. I'm pretty sure. Or would number 4 be? No, if this wasn't her number 1, it was certainly her number 2 or her number 3. It's my number 5. So I don't need to dwell on that too terribly long. It's a great, great game. What is it? It is a Mon Cala game. And I've loved Mon Calas ever since I first played Stefan Feld's Trajan. I think they are a game design mechanism that has been with our species for literally millennia. And anytime a game like Pilgrim can come along and fundamentally redefine a mechanism that has existed in our culture for millennia, I sit up and take notice, and that's what this game does. Because it is a Mon Cala. A Mon Cala, in case you don't know, is a game where you've got all these bowls, scattered around the board, and you activate a bowl, pick up all the pieces that belong to you in it, and then you seed them on subsequent bowls. And in a regular Mon Cala game, you activate the last bowl you're seeding. I mean, for hundreds of years, these were literally just dirt holes that we would dig in the dirt, and we would literally use seeds to play them. I mean, it's some of our oldest game artifacts are Mon Cala from the Roman ages, if I recall correctly. Anyway, though, what this game does with Mon Calas is several things. One, turns the whole idea on its head, because after you've picked up your seeds, your workers, your pilgrims, because in this game it's 14th century England, and we are benevolent members of the church who are just trying to raise money so we can give it away to the poor and needy. That is how we succeed in this game. The more we give to the people, the closer we come to ascending and winning the game. So I love that. It's something we could all be reminded of. Certainly, we reminded of you in the beginning of this episode, because because there's people all around the world who need help. So I love the story here. But back to the Mancala, one of the most two important things. One is, after you've seeded all the bowls, you can activate any bowl on the board. You don't have to activate the last one you put in. You don't have to activate one you even put a seed in. You could be setting those up for the future, and you're going to activate something on the other side of the board. So this is a Mancala with an unprecedented degree of freedom that is really wonderful. And then on top of that, the Mancala branches because there are certain places that are very, very difficult to get to, but you can kind of take shortcuts if you want to get to other areas that are really easy to do, because instead of just continually circling or orbiting around the outer board, you can cut across the board via these rivers and just like repeat the same actions over and over again if you want. And these two things make a Mancala I've played a lot. I played, I think, almost all of the modern Mancala games post-Trajan. And none of them redefine the mechanism as much as Pilgrim does. And then on top of that, it's a really satisfying game because we're doing the Mancala to generate goods to do a bunch of stuff. We're trying to create pilgrimage roads to holy sites. We're trying to create open mercantile roads with major foreign cities. We are trying to gather stuff to give to the poor. We are trying to gather stuff so that we can build these buildings that will give us access to special powers. But at some point or other, and other players can come to our buildings and we get paid for it. Love all that kind of stuff. What I love most about the buildings in this game, though, is eventually you get to the point where I don't think I need this building anymore. I'll give it to the poor as well and score a lot of points on it before the game ends. So the game is really, really clever. You're always tight on your pilgrims. The meeples that you're trying to move around, you can bring more of them from your abbey in the country, or you can leave them in the country so that they can make the main actions on the main board more powerful. There's a lot going on. It's a really sharp game. Like I said, it's live on GameFound right now. I definitely, if you love really interesting, fresh, crunchy Euros, you owe it to yourself to check out number 5, Pilgrim. Then we've got number 4, Ahau, Rulers of the Yucatan. Rulers of the Yucatan. Another paid preview. I think this is on crowdfunding right now too. It might have also been on GameFound. Again, links for all that's going to be down in the show notes. I can't remember all of them. Like I said, February was a very odd month. 2 crowdfunding games for every 1 retail game. Like I said, I think things will change back to normal in next month. We'll see. Anyway, sorry though. What is Ahau, Rulers of the Yucatan, all about? Well, we're at the height of the Mayan Empire. We are doing simultaneous card play. Every round, we play 2 cards, and all these cards are numbered 1 to 6, if I recall correctly. One of the cards, the one we play to the left of our board, says, what region of the Yucatan Peninsula do we want to send our tribal leader so that we can interact with that portion of the board? The card we play to the right, which again is numbered 1 through 6, that says, how badly do we want to go there? The higher the number, the more likely you are that if multiple people go to the same place, that you are to kick them out. The lower the number you play, the more likely you are to be kicked out yourself. And so, this is really interesting. You could say it's kind of an area control worker placement game because you can never be sure when you say, oh, this is the action I want to do. Am I actually going to get to do it? Or is somebody else going to kick me out? And the problem is, I could use this high value 5 card to ensure I don't get kicked out of region 2 where I'm trying to go. But after I've done this, I've just thrown away my number 5 card, which means I can't go to region 5 now. And so you are constantly having to make tough sacrifices. And it's interesting. While I talked about how, usually as general rule, I want to go to region 2. I don't want to get bumped out. Sometimes you do want to get bumped out because I've already used my region 3 card. I can't get to region 3. So I'm going to region 2 because I think you want to go there. And I'm going with the weakest card I can because I'm hoping you'll go there and that you'll kick me out because that'll let me go back to region 3 again, which is where I really want to go. So the mind games in this are wonderful, really interesting and engaging. And then the mechanisms, the rest are really fantastic too. Once you actually get your leader to a region, there are cities you can interact with. There are resources you can get to help build these very cool. We've each got our own tile-laying pyramid that we're building higher and higher that gives us access to more powers. But then there are these public pyramids that are actually cool little 3D pyramids that if we make the investments in those, at the end of a reckoning, after there's a certain number of celebrations, everybody who has gotten in on the ground floor of these 3D pyramids will score points based on certain milestones. How much of a resource was collected, how high a pyramid was built. But the interesting thing is, it's not how well you did at that particular metric, it's how well the best player in the game did. So if everybody can look around and see, wow, Rahdo's really good at building pyramids, I'll never be that good. You know what I should do? I should invest in a thing that'll give me lots of points when Rahdo does an amazing job building pyramids. And then as soon as everybody invests, like, oh, I need to stop building my pyramid. I think everybody else is getting more out of this pyramid than I am. Or do I keep going? And, that level of connection between players is fantastic. I love simultaneous action selection, and it's really, really interesting and engaging in this game. And then on top of that, just as an aside, I think the developers did a fantastic job. They brought in cultural consultants. They brought in professors of ancient history studies. They actually brought in a modern-day Mayan scribe who is actually active in Guatemala today, still keeping the culture alive, and referred to him to make sure they were getting everything just right. I doff my cap to the developers of what is already a really fantastic, fun game. Our number 4 of the month, How Rulers of the Yucatan. But then we go on to number 3, Stella Dixit Universe. And oh boy, I don't know what I thought I was getting into with this. It's interesting. Myself, Ruel Gaviola, my co-host on the R&R show, and my wife, Jen, all got together and did a live stream of this game last month in February. And the interesting thing is, the first round of that game was put on YouTube as our run-through, but if you go back and watch the extended version of this, we kept playing and let the audience be the third player, and Ruel was like their captain, so they got to make choices. And had a fantastic time. It was so much fun. All 3 of us agreed, as did the audience. But that's neither here nor there. You just want to know, why is this game ranked so high? Because it's my number 3 of the month. Well, Dixit has always been, it's interesting, Dixit is the only game we own that is a minimum 3-player game. Because every game on my shelves, the hundreds and hundreds of them, all work well with 2 players. Except for Dixit, because my wife loves Dixit so much. So when a completely new, not just a repackaging of Dixit, but a completely new game in the Dixit universe came out with a whole bunch of new beautiful art cards that are completely compatible with regular Dixit, which is awesome. Just getting more Dixit cards is worth the price of admission. But this is a new game that takes the core idea of Dixit, where every round we are actually trying to figure out what cards from all these beautiful cards best fits the story that is being told this round. That's the core idea of Dixit. It's the core idea here. But in this game, players don't tell the story. Instead, the game comes like code names with a big deck of cards. And every round, you got all these pieces of art. We draw a card, and everybody tries to figure out which of these cards best fits honor or plastic, or any number of things. It's a wide range of topics that appear on these cards. And everybody's looking, okay, honor. Well, okay, that's got a guy, a little kid. He could be pretending to be a knight. That's an honorable thing. I'm going to pick that. And we all pick in secret. We all have a dry wipe erase board that we mark all the cards we think match. Everybody does this simultaneously. Everybody does it in secret. Everybody's trying to figure out the cards that best match. But here's the trick. You do not want to be the only person to pick a card, because then that means you bust, and there's going to be pain. So you want to pick stuff that other players are going to pick. But you want to pick stuff that only one other player is interested in. Because the theme of this game is we are star catchers, each trying to capture light from the nighttime sky. Each card represents a star. So if you and I are the only ones to pick this particular card for honor, then we both get maximum points out of it because we split the starlight amongst ourselves. If there's a third player or more who also pick that, then okay, well, we don't bust, but we don't get as much. So it's a really interesting, delicate balancing act of, trying to pick ones that you know are safe and you'll get some points, but also trying to risk and pick ones that, okay, this is a little bit more far out. The connection between the secret word that the game chose and this card, I get it, but will anybody else get it? You know what? I think Jen will get it because we both saw that movie last week. And if she recognizes the same thing, because it kind of looks like that one character in that one movie, and that was an honorable character, yes, okay, I'm going to take a chance. Because if she picked it for the same reason, then boom, we get mega points. And so this is still a game all about trying to get into the mind of your opponents. But the original Dixit is a game, but just barely. It's an activity that masquerades as a game. Dixit, or Stella, which is the Italian word for starlight, I believe, or maybe it's stars. Stella, Dixit Universe, is an actual proper game. There are push your luck elements. There is resource collection. There's really interesting extra stuff. And now some people would hate that. Some people don't want to sully the beautiful purity of Dixit. I totally get that. I love Dixit too. I think this game is better than Dixit because of the gameplay elements that were brought in as well, that really elevated to the next level. Jen loved it too. Ruel loved it. The audience loved it. We were all thought we were going to like it. None of us thought we'd come away thinking, oh my gosh, is this better than Dixit? One of the best party games of all time. Maybe it is. I think it is. It's my number 3 of the month. Stella, Dixit Universe. And we're almost done, folks. Let's move on to our number 2, Rolling Heights, which is another game that I believe is very successful on Kickstarter. And it is an awesome SimCity style building game. There's a common map that everybody is trying to build our buildings on. We're grabbing tiles, putting them out on the map. That gives us specific targets. We need so many of this block, or blocks that represent glass, blocks that represent concrete, blocks that represent wood. Because this game, covers a broad range of history. It's decades and decades. You start out building small, mostly wooden buildings. You work your way up to concrete. Glass starts showing up more and more. And by the end of the game, you are literally building towering skyscrapers. Little tiny skyscrapers on your board, but still towering. And the whole thing that drives it is the name of the game. Rolling, not heights, rolling meeples. Because this is a, bag building game where you're throwing more and more different colored meeples into your bag. Every round, you draw some out, you roll them, and you're hoping that when they land in your little tray, they are standing up. Because that means they will produce at maximum effect, whatever it is they do, whether they make building materials or do rule-breaking, game changes, all kinds of stuff. There's all the different colors that show up in this game. If they're not standing on their feet, they'll still do some action if they're kind of cattywampus standing on their head. And that's great. But if they're lying on their back, then they're not going to get anything done. And this is a push-your-luck game because you can keep rolling and re-rolling, trying to get more and more of them to stand up. Once you've gotten half of your hand of meeples all standing up, if you keep rolling and on your next roll, you don't get anybody else standing, or at least cattywampus standing, you bust and you lose everything. And by the way, this is from designer John D. Clare, who last year gave us Cubitos, which is another great roll and write game, all about pushing your luck, busting, rolling. That one we're rolling cubes, or dice. This one we're rolling meeples, and I gotta say, it's so much fun. Rolling these meeples, it's like these little meeples have a mind of their own. And the interesting thing, too, if you play a dice push your luck game, it is very easy to fall into the trap of, well, statistically likely, I need this or this. So I have a 1 in 3 chance, so this is what I should really consider when I'm rolling. And both Jen and I are guilty of it, trying to play the odds. What are the odds of a meeple who is going to be standing on its head versus on its feet? There are no odds. I mean, I don't know. Maybe somebody eventually will actually do. I mean, one thing is more likely than the other, but this game gives you the freedom to not get so bogged down in probabilistic, estimations. Just roll and have fun, because the game also features excellent mitigation. If you do bust, you don't feel that bad at all. Sometimes you are almost like, oh, I want to bust because the meeples I've got are not going to give me what I want. I'd rather bust and get the mitigating thing, please. That'll set me up for the future. So I went into this game excited about the rolling meeples. I just thought that would be fun. It's not the first game to do rolling meeples, but it's like the heaviest game to do it. Although it's still just kind of like a midweight game. What I didn't expect, and what really surprised me, is how good the city building is. This is a very compelling, one of the most compelling SimCity-inspired games out there, with the constant balance of trying to get the right buildings next to other buildings, trying to get the right resources from your meeples to those buildings. And it's so satisfying because it comes with these very cool little colorful blocks that stack very high. And I know a lot of people ask me, Rahdo, aren't they all going to fall over all the time? Jen and I did not have that problem at all. We played this quite a bit, never really had a problem with knocking over buildings. For people who are worried about it, and we had a blast. So much so, it's my number 2, second best game of the month, Rolling Heights. But it's not my number 1. My number 1, folks, is Unsettled. Oh yeah, what a great game. And Unsettled is so good, it retroactively makes it into my top 10 games of 2021, because I only just recently played it. This is a cooperative deep space exploration, horror, survival game. Although it's light on the horror, it's heavy on the survival. Our ship of scientists has crash landed on an alien planet. And when I say alien, I mean truly alien. The adventures, the places, the things you see in this game, I almost think they could not be realized in any other form of art, maybe other than comic books, because they're so far out. They're just so not Star Trek Alien of the Week planet. I mean, you truly feel like you've gone where no man or no one has gone before as you're exploring. The base game comes with 2 islands, a desert Arrakis. It's literally called something similar to Arrakis. There's nods to Dune, and a swampy Dagobah type thing. But they are so full of really cool, interesting, fun science fiction. And the writing, this has got to be some of the best writing we have ever seen in the history of board games. Almost a Douglas Adams Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy sense of humor, although it pulls it back a little bit. It doesn't go quite so absurd, but there are twinges of that. And intermixed amongst all this, again, I cannot stress just how truly wonderfully alien these worlds are. It's such a joy to explore. It's such a joy to explore that one of the 3 resources you have to deploy as you are actually trying to explore and survive these planets is wonder. And if that doesn't tell you what the heart of this game is, that you literally have to exude a sense of wonder in what you are discovering on these planets to be able to survive, I don't know, tell you what will. Also, it's a really great Puzzly Euro too, Puzzly Euro co-op game, because we have these big chunky dice that represent how much wonder and energy and observation or awareness, I think. Those are the 3 things you truck in, because we are not Space Marines. Nobody has a gun in this game. We are scientists. We are crashed on an alien planet, and we're going to science the bleep out of this to survive. So everything is about making scientific discoveries that are truly alien in nature, but translate into very interesting gameplay things. And we're racing against the clock because these planets, we're the aliens. It was not made for us. We will not survive if we don't find a way to get off. So we're racing against time. We're making all kinds of wonderful discoveries. We're having wonderful writing, a great sense of, kind of gallows humor suffuses everything. Great production, great art. Everything about this game is wonderful, including the atrophy-based gameplay, because every time we use one of our big dice that represents our wonder, our awareness, or our energy, we rotate it so we're running into less and less. And when we run out of energy, if we keep using that energy die because we need to for whatever reason, we start plowing through a progress track. And when that track fills, everybody gets more exhausted. If everybody gets knocked out, it's game over. So I love everything about this game. I love that I've got 6 planets. I believe they've been running a new crowdfunding, and they've got like 4 more planets. I want to get those too. It's interesting. I mean, everybody seems like ever since Gloomhaven, every publisher has to have their big, huge, expansive, hours and hours and hours of contents mega box and cooperative adventures. And this is the one from publisher Orange Nebula. I get these. I think they're great. And I think, I'll never get a chance to play this because of the nature of Rahdo Runs Through, right? That it'll just sit forever, so I might as well just send it down to the Dice Tower West Library because I'll never get a chance to play it. It's very rare I hold on to them. This one I've held on to. I will, by hook or by crook, make time to revisit these planets because I love this game so much. So did my wife, Jen. We were blown away by it. It's the best game of the month of February 2022 in our minds, and it's one of the 10 best games of 2021. Unsettled. Okay, and that is it. Did you make it to the end, folks? Well, if so, let me know what you thought. March, like I said, there's some really cool stuff that's coming. In my next roundup next month, I will be talking about all the amazing games I got to play at Dice Tower WestCon. Dice Tower WestCon is why this was 10 days late. Very sorry about that. So, some more games are coming, and I think we're going to be switching away from a lot of crowdfunding Kickstarter games to existing retail games, and I can't wait to tell you. And in closing, folks, one more time, as we mentioned right up front, for the month of March, my wife, if you go to ukraine.rahdo.com, is raising funds. Let me put it back on screen one more time. Ukraine.rahdo.com. Although you can just hit the I from the top right corner screen or follow the link in the show notes to go there. Oopsie, I keep hitting the buttons and bringing stuff on the screen. Forget about all that. That was a failed experiment I should have gotten rid of. But anyway, go to ukraine.rahdo.com. Get a one-of-a-kind, nobody else will ever in history have a Wit the exact same as yours, because everyone is a unique work of love and art that my wife makes. Hello-wee! And you will be supporting the people of Ukraine because 100% of her proceeds goes to care.org. Thank you very much for the support. I know my wife, appreciates all of you from the bottom of her heart, and we'll be back again in another month, folks. So that was it. Thanks very much for watching. Have a very nice day. Talk to you later. So long. Bye-bye. And, oops, that's the overhead. Oopsie. Boom. Hey, I'm done. I'm exhausted. That went on a bit longer than I thought it was going to, although I've lost all track of time because we started real late and all that. Are you still here, folks? I see a few of you have made it to the end. Fortunately, I don't think my mic ever dropped out. I didn't hear any explosions in my ear. So, let's see. Oh, hey, Mighty Board showed up at some point. And, folks, did you know that on Twitch, if you watch shows, the longer you watch, the more points you accrue for that channel? If you look below the chat right now, there's a cursive R. If you watch this, you've been earning Rahdo points. You can spend those Rahdo points for all kinds of things. Click the cursive R. One of the things you can do is to make your comments stand out and highlight in the chat. And apparently, Mighty Boards, the developer of, what was it? I forget which number it was. Oh, I don't remember now. Oh, but now it's going to drive me nuts. It was Hamlet. Oh, I've already closed the browser. No, I haven't. It was my number. Whatever. The developers of Hamlet are apparently here. Hey, guys, how you doing? And they use their points to ensure that Fem Sensei saw the hello. But I see it too. This is another way that you can make sure that I don't miss your comments if you use your Rahdo points to basically bump them up in the queue. But let's see. Did anybody ask any questions? Remember, you have to start your questions with a question mark because then they go into this little Ask Me Anything queue I've got. And it looks like I've got a few. So let's get going. Right, Wesseloid wonders, would airfare and a hotel room be close to convincing us to attend a small local convention? Could we attempt to crowdsource an appearance? What just happened? What just happened? Meeple Pat resubscribed. Woohoo! Don't worry, Meeple Pat. Thank you for also subscribing. You are one of the first to start building us towards our next RVR, because we already had an RVR for February, but your subscription will roll over into next month to try to unlock the March RVR. I have Three Sisters is going to be the March RVR. What will the April RVR be? Well, you got us one step closer just now, Meeple Pete. Oh, I should look. Did I miss anything else while I was talking? Olympian, thank you for subscribing. You are also getting us closer. Oh, and 1024 EV giving out community subs. You're awesome. Master Goblin Games, you came in on the raid. Thank you very much for supporting the show. That is all great. We will be playing games in our near future thanks to you and Eclectic Camel and Julia Deer and Kerwin and Kate Invader and PL9. And Sam C1078. Thanks, everybody, for supporting the show. It means a lot. But anyway, Wesseloid wonders, Wesseloid, I'll be honest. We are so exhausted. 5 days at Dice Tower West was a lot. And honestly, it might be our last convention. We are old. We spend so much time away. We just want to get back, and it's great to see people. And Jen loves, getting direct feedback from people who love her work, and it's great meeting everybody. And it's fun playing games we don't normally get to play. Like I said, I'll list the games that I played at Dice Tower West. Some stuff I've been wanting to play for a long time. So that's all very cool. But I mean, never say never. But we're homebodies, and you're asking at the absolute worst time because getting out of Vegas to come home was a nightmare. Should I tell the story? No, somebody asked me on the next R&R, because Ruel would want to be here. He'd want to hear the story of how our flight got delayed. Oh, wait, no, I told that story, didn't I? I did. I told that story in the last R&R about how we were delayed for 2 days. And we were like, and we had to pay an extra $500 to get out of town. You can watch the last RVR. That's right. I didn't tell the story about running around. I'm too tired to tell that story now. I mean, without Ruel here, I had to provide 100% of the energy for 2 hours and 17 minutes. Ruel takes up, and it's draining. Ruel, I don't appreciate him as much as I should. And then when I do this all by myself, and I'm so exhausted. So I'm not ruling it out, Wrestleoid, but honestly, Jen and I, we love playing games with ourselves, and we can get almost every game we want to play. So never say never. If you want to, contact me, but I just don't know if it's going to happen. I just don't know. Too old for that bleep. Alrighty. Next up. Frank Tries says, they'll be in Vegas next week. First time. Any recommendations? Well, we just spent 5 days in Vegas and did nothing. We spent all day At the convention, I was playing games. Jen was selling her glasswares. And this is before she rolled out her new Ukraine stuff. Oh, that would have been great to do in person. But anyway, and then at the end of the day, we went to, I believe there was a Smash Burgers in the hotel, which was the fastest food we could get that was good. Oh my gosh, it was good. And then we just went back to our room and just hung out and watched TV shows and went to sleep because we were exhausted. But I will say, from my younger days, when Jen and I went to Vegas back in our 20s, what did we love? Indoor skydiving. Bungee jumping at the Circus. I assume they still do that. Those were fantastic. We loved the indoor skydiving. Penn and Teller is fun. I've seen Penn and Teller live a few times. I mean, all the stuff you would expect. The Blue Man Group is something you should see. I mean, there's all these amazing shows. And actually, it was really interesting. I was talking with Thinker Themer near the end. And Maggie, one of them, had just gone to see Katy Perry the previous night live in this ridiculous extravaganza live show that Katy Perry does there, and the tickets were $75. Like, for Katy Perry. I mean, I know it's been a while since she kissed a girl and she liked it, but she's still a pretty big name. And so I don't know if just these days it's easier or cheaper to get into acts because Vegas is rebuilding. I'm not quite sure, but yeah, I mean, there's so many shows. The thing is, neither Jen or I are interested in gambling at all. But in our 20s and 30s, we loved going to Vegas just to see shows, just to do crazy stuff, roller coasters, all kinds of things. But if there was one thing I would want to do and I wasn't old and tired, I'd want to bungee jump again. I'd want to do more indoor skydiving. Although, to be fair, those are things you can do anyplace. I think we went to the Hoover Dam many years. We went there before 9/11, before they shut everything down, and you could actually have tours inside Hoover Dam and pretend you were Tommy Lee Jones saying, "I don't care," when your fellow traveler said, "I didn't kill my wife." And I think for years that was shut down. But somebody told me Hoover Dam is now open again for tours through the inner workings. That was fascinating. We loved it when we did that a billion years ago. Okay, right. Best surprise game related from the convention Axe victory. Oh, no two ways about it. A little Sashi and Sashi game called Wind the Film. I will talk about it in next month's Roundup, because it's one of the games we played. And I'm lucky, the person who taught it to me, Jin, he actually owned 2 copies, and he gave me his old beat-up copy and kept his new pristine copy for himself, because he thought we would love it, and both Jen and I loved it. I just said a minute ago how, at the end of every day, we just went back to our room and pretty much just vegged out and did nothing. With exception, we did play Wind the Film one evening and one following morning. We both thought it was so cool. Cannot recommend enough. Probably very, very hard to get your hands on. Wind the Film. Okay. Fem Sensei says, do the expansions I talked about raise the overall rating of the base games or lower it or keep it the same? I believe they raised them, and I suspect I have already reflected those. What were they? I don't remember anything now. Where am I? What's happening? Where's my list? Where were the games? What did I talk about? What? What were they? They were Tang Garden Seasons. Oh, yeah. No choice about it. Tang Garden, I thought was a very, very cool game. But I mean, if you watch my original run-through, I had real issues with it. And I didn't keep it. Even though I thought there was a lot of really cool stuff. I played Tang Garden Seasons, and they had to send me a new copy of Tang Garden so I could play it. I did not donate my new copy of Tang Garden to the Dice Tower Library again so that they would have another copy of it, because I was so impressed by that co-op game and that solo game. So yeah, there's no choice about it. I mean, I would say Tang Gardens was raised from a high 6, low 7 into a low 7 or a high 7, low 8 by seasons, just for the co-op game alone. I admit, I didn't really, I looked at the other stuff, messed with it a little bit, but I was only interested in the co-op. That was what was it for me. Terraforming Mars, Ares Expedition, yes. Huge jump up. Again, that was turning it from low 7, or I'm sorry, high 7, low 8 into a mid 8. And basically, Terraforming Mars, Ares Expedition with the expansion is now in my top 100 games of all time, which it always should have been. But this new stuff that's in it so elevates the game. And then, Legrand Deluxe. I mean, Legrand was already super high, but it's got to go up a couple of bumps as well. I had a bunch of them, but I only had time. I played both of the Steffenfeld expansions. And which one? I played I don't remember now, because this was over a month ago that we played this. I think I did talk about in my final thoughts which ones I played, and they were all fantastic. They all made the game richer. Oh, that's right. I couldn't remember. When I was saying that, what was I was saying that was Jen's favorite of the month? I was thinking her favorite of the month was... Oh, Pilgrim, because she loved Pilgrim. Pilgrim was her second favorite of the month. Her favorite of the month was revisiting Le Grand Ha, because Le Grand Ha is so absolutely fantastically amazing, and it's just gotten better. So yeah, all of them have gotten bumps. These, all of those, would they be must-haves? The Ares Expedition and the... Well, no, the Tang Garden is must-have. I wouldn't want to own the game without the Seasons expansion for the co-op. Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition is probably good enough on its own. It doesn't need it, but oh, it so enhances. And the same for Le Grand Ha. Le Grand Ha was already so amazing, so much replayability. It didn't need any of this stuff, but all of this stuff is so awesome. And every time you play, mixing 2 or 3 different, you create a different combination of mechanisms that makes the siesta track better, or changes the way you build in town, or how you draft dice, or replaces dice with other dice. Whatever you're going to mix and match stuff with, oh, it's so great. I wouldn't want to play Le Grand Ha without that stuff as well. So that's all kind of rambling because I'm tired, but hopefully it gives you an idea. Let's get back to the queue. Alrighty. Boom. Fem Sensei again. Can I quantify the impact on game length of my ratings? Seems certain length thresholds elevates the ratings. Epically long game or above a certain thresholds hard to score. Like, I don't know. Yes. Yeah, no choice about it. In a perfect world, Jen and I would only play games that for us, we could finish in under 90 minutes. Because it has to be a really special game that will hold our attention beyond that. And Ark Nova does. Gloomhaven does. Keyflower does. But there have been a lot of really fantastic heavy Euros that we really liked a lot, and we might have kept if we could play it in 60 to 90 minutes. But no, we have to play this in over 2 hours? Then no. And that's just, I mean, physically, we don't want to sit at the table that long. We get antsy. We get uncomfortable. We got old rickety bones. We're rickety bags of bones. We need to go sit someplace else. Jen's got a lot of other stuff to do. Jen is, right now, with all of these things, oh my gosh, Jen has so much stuff to do. So it's a luxury to play games. And that's not the fault of the game. I don't blame a developer saying, oh my gosh, this is so wonderful. It's so epic. I get it. I enjoy epic, but I just don't have room for it in my life. So yeah, there's no choice about it. It has an impact on us. And that's not, but our ratings, my rating, if you go to rank.rahdo.com, that is not in any way, shape, or form an objective reflection of how good those games are. It's just telling you how much I like each one of those games relative to the other ones. And yeah, there's no choice about it. A shorter game gets a boost. No two ways. Now, a too short a game, I honestly don't have much use for 15-minute games. We used to do fillers a lot more. But these days, we just don't have much interest in them. Actually, I should have said, that's one of the reasons. What's it? I was talking about, which one was it? Static Blood Moon, which is maybe one of the crunchiest fillers I've ever seen. And I should have mentioned it. Mostly I just mentioned, it didn't stick with me because it was abstract. That's definitely true, but I forgot. Another reason it didn't quite stick with me as much is because it's at its best played with for 15 minutes. And oh my gosh, Loozapalooza, welcome back. Your dreams were your ticket out. Hey, welcome to the party, everybody. Although we are wrapping up. I'm in a Q&A section, because we just finished recording my monthly roundup of the games of February. And I'm just doing some Q&A. So, if you have ever had a question you want to ask the great and mighty Rahdo, now is the time. Start your question with a question mark. Question mark, and then whatever you want, because it'll go into a queue and I will answer it. And when I run out of questions, we're done here and the raid train will continue. So anyway, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. So, games can be too long. For me, they can also be too short. I don't want to get through all the trouble and sit down for a 10-minute game. And I understand the point of those is, you want to do that? Because then you're going to roll right into the next game. I want to have a big, and for us, 60 to 90 minutes is perfect. 45 is fine. Getting shorter than 45, it's got to be really special to warrant the time to set it up. And getting over 90, it's got to be really special to warrant the physical discomfort of having to continue to sit at a table instead of relaxing on a couch or what have you. Alrighty. Boom. Whoops. I think, nope. Isn't that the question? Quantify the impact? I think I just did. So, next question. And it looks like the last question, folks. So, if you've got any questions, start them with a question mark. Get them to me now. Otherwise, we'll be rating somebody. But Fem Sensei asks, with Unsettled, the game seems to punish someone for exploring. I love exploring. Did you find that well? That is a very interesting observation. That is a very astute observation. The game does punish you for exploring. But it requires you to explore. You have no choice. I mean, that's not true. Some of the planets have more stuff face up and you get right to the puzzle, from what I've seen. But the ones I played, almost all the cards are face down. You must explore. You must go out and find. And once you have reached a critical mass of exploration and you think you have discovered enough, then you have to stop because you don't have enough time. You've probably already taken a beating from the exploration you already did. Time is running out, and you're like, oh! I haven't found the one tile. Okay, can we just get by without that? Do we really need to find this last thing? Because we're running out of time and we're going to die on this planet. So to me, that is a strength of the game, that it forces you to explore at your peril. You really do feel the sense of wonder, which is omnipresent throughout the game, but also the sense of danger that you should feel. And I think that's one of its strengths. Let's see here. Right. Okay, so that was that one. Okay, and hey, we'll cook for board games. Will, I'm just going to call you Will. Will, I see Corrosion on the shelf. What type of gamer would you recommend it to, if at all? Corrosion is an interesting beast. It is an engine building game. And if you love engine building games, you really owe it to yourself to check it out. It's very satisfying. The thing about it, the trick of this game is in the title, Corrosion. Because you are in a Victorian era factory in a steampunk world. There's steam everywhere, and all the engines you build are constantly corroding away to dust. So I can imagine for some people it's very frustrating because this is not, I mean, most engine building games, I play for a while, I build an engine, I start using it, I make that engine bigger, or I get a second engine, stuff like that. Not so in this game. In this game, you'll make a dozen little baby engines, and they'll constantly rise, you'll get a bit of use out of them, and then they'll just rust away to nothing. But you're already on the process of making your next engine to make use of what your last engine did for you. And that's very cool. I like it quite a bit. Some people have a very hard time with this game, because the game does not have a timer. It's not like you play for a fixed 10 rounds and the game's over. It goes until, I don't remember off the top of my head what, but certain milestones have been reached. And the problem is, players, I've seen this happen. I've seen people say, it took us 3 hours. We played for 3 hours, 2 players, and it was never going to end, and we just walked away. All right. And the problem is, then this is why I suggest some people might not like it, it's an engine building game and it's a race game. You have to treat this game like you are a sprinter out on the field, running as fast as you can, grabbing everything you can, because if you don't, imagine a race game where everybody, after the starting line, could just run in little circles over and over and over again, making new engines, having them corrode, make more engines, go, 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 go. And that can go on forever if you don't keep in mind the fact that you must run the track. Because the first player to get across the track, not the first player who builds the most engines, not the first player who comes up with the most interesting combos of stuff, the player who actually runs the field. And the thing is, I say everything's corroding all the time, but the trick is the game gives you lots of ways to stave off that corrosion. Wait, I want to control the passage of time. I don't want it to corrode. And if you do that, you'll make a 2-player game last over 3 hours. Because you have to embrace the corrosion. You have to chase the corrosion and let things decay right in front of you so that it is a snappy, fast game. And if you do that, you'll have a great time. If you don't, you will have a miserable time. And you have to know for yourself if that's something you can do. I will be honest. That was something very difficult for Jen. She had a hard time playing against me because I am all about the bird in the hand. Forget about those birds in the bush. Give me the bird in the hand. And Jen is all about that long-term planning. And this game is all about long-term corrosion mitigation. So it's an interesting one. I like it quite a bit. Ripplebrook. What's my most played game of the year so far? Let's take a look. I don't know. I haven't had any. Usually the answer to that question is the most recent legacy game that I've had to cover. Because, of course, to cover those, I know what, if you had asked me a month from now, I know what it would be. Because I've got a prototype for it, it's going to require me to probably play it like 5 or 6 times to get a full sense of the whole thing. But it's unannounced, so I can't say. I can't talk about that. So I'm just being a cruel and unusual tease. But let's go to, let's actually share my screen. Where are you? Share the screen. Share the screen. So here we are at Rahdo Runs Through Games. 1,733 games I have run through over the last decade. Yowza. Okay, I don't know the new interface. How do I switch over to edit items? That's what I want. So this will take a little bit, but it's an easier way if you control a geek list that you can just see everything at a glance. Does it work? It's coming. Oh, I see it spinning. So it'll be here in just a mo. Or maybe it won't. Is there the way just to view it by edit description, edit items? Huh. I don't see the way to look at it just based on listings or where'd it go? Edit, block. Wow. Okay. So this is taking a while. Not surprisingly. Board Game Geek having to collate 1,733 items takes a while. Oh, to heck with it. Let's just go to page 70 and look. Alrighty. Just going backwards from stuff I put up. Stuff I've played the most. These are all about the same. Generally, 1 or 2 times, plus the run-through. Free Radicals we played quite a bit because we played, I think, all but 2 of the 10 factions. So that one we played quite a bit, more than the average bear, because I wanted to see more of it. Oh, hey, it's finally showing up. Okay, here we are. Scroll all the way down. Alrighty. Ark Nova. Only because I played Ark Nova 1 time, 2 times, 3.5 times. I played 3.5 games of Ark Nova at Dice Tower West, and then I played a 4th game when we got home from Jen. So that's 4.5 games of Ark Nova. And on average, 2 to 3 hours. So it's probably Ark Nova. I haven't played many instances of it, but it's a long-ass game. Let's see here. No. These are all kind of played 2 or 3 times. I would have loved to play more La Granja. I just didn't have time because it was launching so fast. Imperial Steam, I played half a game. It was too scary. I made Shay do it. It's good to have people. Jen and I played of Savannah Park quite a few times because it was. It's interesting actually. Savannah Park flies in the face of everything I just said about. We generally try to find games of a certain length. I guess Savannah Park is maybe. It's probably a half an hour, 40 minutes, so it's kind of right there on the edge. And then Free Radicals, I think. So going all the way, and then here we are in December. So it's going to be Free Radicals or Ark Nova, depending on how you consider, number of hours played or number of sessions played, with probably Savannah Park coming in 3rd place. Okay, any more questions coming in? I think that was the last one when I looked a second ago. Oh, no, it's not. Exacting Vampire asks, do I usually play a game daily, or do we play more on the weekend? How many games on average do you think you play a week? What is this weekend of which you speak? There is no concept of that in our house. Jen or I have long ago stopped paying attention to the concept of Saturday and Sunday. We work 7 days a week, both of us, because we work for ourselves. And every day we play a game. I mean, I know it's crazy, but it's work. It could be any day. It's honestly, the number of games we play in a given week is 100% reliant on Jen's schedule. How much time can she make for me? And if she can't, how much time am I going to have to spend playing solo stuff? It's going to be tough in March because I expect she's going to continue to get more and more, success at the Ukraine fundraising she's doing. So that's going to eat into our game time this month. We'll have to make up for that in April, but I think I can do that. But average, when there's not, outlying stuff like this, we probably play 3 to 4 unique games every week, and most of them we try to play 2 times. We used to, that used to be a hard and fast rule. I'm going to play this 2 times before I film it. I will be honest, between you, me, and the wall, that's not the case anymore. More and more, it's like, oh, yeah, we played it. And the thing is, I just mentioned, I have filmed 1,733 games. I've probably played another 500 games above and beyond those. Both Jen and I have gotten to the point where we do not need to play. Anytime somebody ever says, wow, you really need to play this game 3 times to understand it, I guarantee we understand it on the first game. We have played enough games. It is very rare that happens to us. I think the last time I remember that happening to me was Aquasphere, where it's like, okay, wow, that did a number on us. We have to play this again. So I used to try to be really good about the 2, but that is not always the case anymore. And so I would say in an average week, we probably play 3 or 4 games. If it's fewer games, we played them more. If it's more games, we played them less. And that's sometimes, in some weeks, we will play 7 or 8 games because I'm really under it and there's a lot of stuff going on. And sometimes Jen is so busy and she cannot make the time, we'll play only 2 or 3. I don't think we would ever play less than 2 or 3 games a week. That probably hasn't happened in years, that we have not played at least 2 or 3. And when I say, I'm talking about new games that we have never played before. Every week for the last 7 or 8 years, 52 weeks a year, with the occasional, like if we're traveling or whatever, we have played at least 2 new games every week, which is mind-numbing when you think about it. Okay, you folks ran out of questions. So let me see if anybody used their points to put anything into the queue. No, it doesn't look like they did. So, oh, wait a minute. What's this over here? Wait a minute. I see red stuff over here. Fem Sensei, Victor BHD, yours are in red. They should be coming over here. Highlighted stuff should be over there. It's not highlighted. Ugh, technology. Anyway, though, folks, we are done. We are going to raid somebody. We're going to make somebody's day because it's so happy. I can guarantee you, when you hear whatever your sound is for raid, and you know a whole bunch of people show up, it's just a good feeling. So hang on for a second, folks. Let's see if we can find somebody to raid. Board games. Right. Do I see anybody that I recognize? There's Becca Scott, but she's got 250 people watching her. The Panic Games, I think we rated them the other day, didn't we? Ooh, they're playing Castles of Burgundy, a top 10 favorite of mine, and they only have 7 people. Folks, make the Panic Games day. Go over and say hello. See what they've got going on in Castles of Burgundy, one of the greatest games of all time. Tell them Rahdo sent you. If you do this, you will get more Rahdo points so you can request more stuff. And with that out of the way, I bid you all adieu. Raid! Raid! And there they go. Okay. And people who are watching this after the fact, thanks everybody. Talk to you later. So long. Bye-bye.